So, to continue our previous conversation we were having, Wash, because I wanted to share my thoughts.
What were we talking about? Oh,
you said
Deltarune.
The Deltarune, Undertale, Rick and Morty conversation.
Yeah, you said it didn't capture you as much as Undertale. And I'll say I thought Chapter 1 by itself wasn't as strong, nearly as strong, but I did like Chapter 2 a lot. I don't know why, but I really liked it. Which I guess I'll save showing all the art
make a mess of the rest
for
of
once
the
we're
deck,
live.
Julia. Just put them wherever or in the center console or whatever you need to do.
The rest of the
I'll
art
take
doesn't
care of them
actually
later.
relate to Undertale or Deltarune. I found some really good little scenic shots of artwork from different what's the word for it?
Intellectual properties. That's the sterile way of saying
Franchises. That's another sterile way of saying it. Yeah.
Franchises.
What's the
Am I
non-sterile
streaming
way?
from OBS instead of recording? No, I'm recording.
What's the non-sterile way?
Pre-streaming.
it. Restream.io. Not sponsored.
Restream.io indeed. Wash.
Can
you say a few
what's a
more words for me?
non-sterile way of
Don't mind me. I'm just over
Universe?
here playing the new official Wing Badger Tavern game on my little game console.
Oh, wow.
Doop dop a doopity doo.
Doopity dup.
Doop doppity doo.
Deep doop. Beep boop.
boop-a-dab, beep-a-dab.
Beep bop boobity bow.
Story world. That's a non-sterile way of saying it, maybe. I don't know.
Alt universe.
Trevor, can you
Pew
say
pew
some
pew
words
pew
for me?
pew.
I am saying words
Yeah, you
that
are.
are important to
Look at you
the
say those words.
podcast. Yeah, they're great
Perfect.
words.
Thank you. Cleo, can you say some words for me?
I think that
Jake, can you
all
say some words
IPs are
for me?
actually
I'm saying the words. I'm saying the words.
keep
I'm
saying
saying the words.
Great.
Keep saying them. I will.
Thank you for saying those words. Thanks for those kind words, Jake.
No problem.
Thanks for those sweet, sweet words.
Are all IPs just fanfics?
Well, they're not originally written by fans.
No, they're
Some
like
people
the
aren't.
address that's assigned to your machine by a router so that it can access
just
the internet
fixed.
through the same routing point, even though it's not necessarily going to the same place on the internet as other devices on your network.
If I create
It's
a
what
character,
you use to get cat videos. on
don't
the
all
internet.
people who make original content are fans of something?
Yeah, but not fans of their own content.
Not always.
They're not?
Sometimes they
We
are.
actually hate this podcast.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I guess
This is my
there are
day
people who are not
job.
fans of their own content.
Yeah, we here at Wing Badger
Oh.
Gaming despise
Do you
what
think,
we do.
what is it? The Immortal fanfic. Do you think they're fans of their own fanfic?
Oh, for sure.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's My Immortal is the most infamous fanfic ever written.
My Immortal Academia? Is that what that is?
No, not quite.
Yeah. No, 100%.
My Immortal
Well,
Academia
yeah.
is a
What is it?
fanfic of the
What's
Immortal.
what is it? Is
fanfic.
it something
mix.
something dark Ravenway? Like, what's the main character's name?
Oh, I can't remember, but it's real bad.
I watched a video of someone attempting to read through all of it and summarize it, and it was really funny.
Did you ever read
oh
Zlorp?
yeah.
No,
I don't know how to pronounce
Zorp.
Zlorp, XLORMP. It was a Twilight fan fiction that was written just to ridicule the writing style of the author of Twilight, and it's very funny. It takes place in the town of Spatulas. It's hosted on LiveJournal, so it's like a zlorp.livejournal.net or something like that.
Didn't 50 Shades of Grey start out as a Twilight fanfic?
It did.
Ended up actually turning into
There
a
it is.
piece.
The most popular book in the whole world. They've written sequels. The most second book in the whole series, only slightly better than the last book. The most incredible work of literature in the entire cosmos. It's a 4-book
Guys,
series.
I looked up the Wikipedia plot summary for My Immortal fanfiction. The main character's name is Ebony Darkness Dementia Ravenway.
Is dementia in her name?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna go live here in 3, 2,
Oh,
1.
no.
Now
That name gives me
Reliving.
dementia.
reliving.
Live.
We're live on the web.
We're
internet.
live. And I've been given dementia.
Welcome, everybody, to the Information Superhighway. My name's Wash.
I've been given dementia, and this is the album.
Highway.
Hi.
Hi, girls.
All right.
Hygiene.
I'm upstairs.
So I'll reiterate. This is the art I got from the last con.
The last con.
Yeah, Cleo's
is in
last
captivity.
heist where she stole art, different than
The galaxy is that piece.
So fun piece of art.
Jake. Tell
I
the
don't
people
know.
what you said about it.
Well, I don't know
Fun
the game that it's from, and so I said, "Is that the Roku City?"
Oh,
And then I cried a little bit.
Just a little bit. Mine, like
and I laughed a
minuscule
lot.
tears.
I got that joke instantly. I didn't know that Roku City was a meme, so it was just like
Oh,
a
it
really
is.
cool reference for me.
Roku
because I've
City
got
is
a
a
Roku
meme.
TV.
I also didn't
amazing.
know it was a meme. It just seemed like whatever Cleo had bought it to
It
be
became
was
a meme
probably
instantly
not
in that
Roku
moment for
City.
me.
Roku
For that-
City
for-
is a Gen Z meme.
All right.
Downtown
let
Roku
me-
City.
Grab the other art. I have to take off my headphones.
Well, Cleo wouldn't
Okay.
get that meme because Cleo's a millennial. As
Yeah,
we
exactly.
all
Which we
know
ironed
very
out.
well.
As we've all established.
Yep.
Dang it.
The very first YouTube video that we ever uploaded to our channel is called Mike is a Meme. I think that might be the second one.
The order in which we edited the videos versus the order in which we actually published them are like a bit different. So I remember them in different orders than they actually were, I think.
All right, I got him.
You got him?
Got him.
So we got.
Ooh,
Make sure the camera can see all of that.
I like it.
very
We
pretty.
got that one. That's from Spirited Away.
Uh-huh.
All right, the river spirit. And then we got this one.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Got some Cowboy Bebop.
That's sweet.
Always a fan. And
Oh,
If you-
I really like that one.
if you got some Cowboy Bebop, you can't forget Samurai Champloo.
That's cool.
So
See you, Space Cowboy.
see ya, Space Cowboy. Some
That's
good,
sweet.
Good art.
Yeah.
Don't know where to put it now.
On the wall.
I haven't gone to a con in a while. That needs to change, probably.
I just get dragged to them.
I've never been to a con.
Wash, you should come to a con with us.
It's fun with
Should
a
come
big
to a
group.
con.
With a good big group.
Yeah. With a big good group.
Big good group.
A good big group of
Group
people.
bug?
Group of guys and gals.
Big group.
Is group bug the plural of grub bug?
Yeah, there you go.
Was that
Hey,
a
besties is
Kermit impression?
No, this is my Kermit impression.
Wow, it's really good.
I will randomly, like, I remember the first time I used it around Caitlin, she was like, "You've been having that in your back pocket and never showed me." I was like, "Yep."
We can't hold things like this back.
That's
Yeah.
like a year and a half after the Trump presidency ended, Brennan Lee Mulligan did his first Trump impression in a comedy sketch. And people were like, "You've just had this for 4 years?" And he's like, "I couldn't tell anybody. They'd never let me do anything else."
Trump impressions were overplayed when he was actually
With,
president anyways. It's better after.
That's true.
with great power comes great responsibility.
He did a bit
Yeah.
on Game Changers where it was Sauron, but it's Donald Trump. And it was very funny.
That bit is
Oh.
very funny. Yep.
I know that bit.
I've seen that bit.
I've
Let's
seen
all
that bit.
acknowledge our understanding of the bit
Yeah.
before we move
Let's
on.
all acknowledge
together.
that our TikTok For You page or Instagram Reels homepage have similar algorithms.
Let's all
Yes.
let's get that out of the way.
Mine
Yep.
don't.
Well, Wash,
I can
All
start
right,
you can just
well,
leave
things
now.
to make it that way.
Just
Do you ever
kidding.
like go through your YouTube shorts and it's just a blank screen with no audio?
No.
And then you like
Yes. I sometimes
remember to turn
scroll
on your
YouTube
internet?
so hard that I break YouTube.
when you win at doom scrolling?
I have
Wow.
scrolled to the bottom of YouTube before.
I beat the level. I beat this doom scrolling level. I'm ready for the
Like
next
when-
one.
My husband helped me delete YouTube off of my phone.
Yeah.
Wow.
and now she doom scrolls in Chrome. She just like pulls her YouTube and scrolls in there.
I remember having to look it up and I was just like, can you like disable YouTube shorts on the app? And they're like, you'd have to bootleg your phone and install an old version of the YouTube app in order
Wow.
to do that.
Dang.
I was like, I don't want to do all that. I'm lazy.
So anyway, everybody watching the stream, like the
No,
Discord
I'm not
stream
ready to
of
play
tonight's
D&D.
Yes.
thing. Got that pulled
I
up?
see.
Got it?
Got it pulled
I
up.
see
pulled up?
five
Not ready.
cool
All
people
Already?
and
I
one
don't know.
Here we
one
go.
cooler
Previously
person.
on Dungeon Ball Z.
The warning was not heeded.
Clara, from where you and from where you and Garlel have your heads poked out of the hatch, and Gunnar with these Goths closing in on him, you see
Gunner's
between
like still
them.
barely hanging onto the railing.
You're like looking through the railing and past the Goths. You see FP drop, and there's a heart-stopping moment of pause, and then Jeb turns into a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it looks for a second like he's about to board the Cugboat. And the laugh at Jeb's incredible contingencies dies in your throat as instead the T-Rex topples backwards, losing its balance. And then for just the briefest moment, you see Owlin suspended alone, the leader of Four Guys Ventures and Vibes, facing off against this death kiss before, with a loud snap, the teeth of the Tyrannosaurus close and both are yanked down and out of view. And on that note, tonight's Dungeons and Dragons session comes to a close.
Holy cow.
Bruiser, Fox, roll initiative.
You got it, boss.
We are at initiative order 20 at this point in time, which means that it is the Cugboat's turn. I've given Bruiser the reins of the Cugboat for those of you who were with us last session. Just before this, we saw a death kiss and a number of its allies fly out of the mist and attack the Cugboat. And in the ensuing fight, the death kiss was able to lash FP62, Jebediah Peppermint, and Alan Woodrear with its tentacles, pull them out so that they were floating suspended in the grapple over the abyss below, the Cugboat flying 6 miles over the sea level with 4 miles of mist beneath it. And in the ensuing fight, FP, trying to escape, shot the Death Kiss and drew blood. And the Death Kiss was so surprised that it released FP, and he began toppling at terminal velocity, which we looked up, and it's 500 feet per round. As FP toppled into the distance, Jeb froze up, and the Death Kiss tried to drain HP from Jeb to recover itself. In doing so, it activated a spell Jeb had cast called Contingency, where when he hits a certain level of hit points, another spell fires off.
This is true.
That spell was Polymorph into a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And so Jeb went from a tiny little mole dude to a T-Rex full-sized. But Jeb was suspended over the abyss. And at that weight, the Death Kiss couldn't keep him restrained, so it let go. The T-Rex scrabbled with its T-Rex feet at the Cugboat, but he rolled a nat 1 on the save, and as he fell, he rolled a nat 20 on his attempt to attack the Death Kiss, clamped his jaws over 4 of its tentacles and dragged it down with him. Owlin, still restrained by the Death Kiss, which I believe passed a save on its way down, is being dragged down to the depths along with them. Fox, asleep on his sickbed, recovering from a cough that he picked up at the high altitude, knows nothing about it. Bruiser in the cockpit trying to help the ship maneuver in the fight so that he doesn't hit his companions but also stays close enough to be useful, wasn't able to see this happen, didn't hear about it until Clara yelled to him. And so we find ourselves at the top of initiative order where the ship's crew are able to take action. This is effectively the same round. So what that means is FP fell at the end of the last round. He is 500 feet down. Anybody who enters freefall falls 500 feet. Characters who can fly may fall 500 feet and take a move action, but choosing to fall would be their action. The Cugboat can free fall at Bruiser's discretion. Bruiser may pilot the Cugboat to free fall, and we have already talked about the mechanics of how to rotate the thrusters 180 degrees and try and get beneath the players. So Bruiser has the option as well of doing that and trying to get ahead of you with the boat and catch you. But what happens in this immediate aftermath as Bruiser realizes what has happened and takes action? Bruiser, what does the Cugboat do?
Bruiser wants to maneuver the Cugboat to start free fall, so he would give did people already prepare for this, or are there people still on the deck?
There are people on the deck, but they can prepare as a reaction. Everybody, we worked this out already. Everybody was within 15 feet of a door, so they can get inside. It won't be comfy, but they won't fall off.
Then Bruiser will cut the thrusters and begin falling with them and rotating them.
Excellent. As Gunnar dives from the railing where he had pulled himself back onto the Cugboat into the cockpit door, as Garlel and Clara slam the hatch that leads up to the main deck closed over top of them and just barely wrench it into position with a the thrusters go dark on the Cugboat, and as it slowly lists to one side, it plummets. Fox, you are awoken by the sensation of your face impacting the ceiling of your cabin as you are thrown from your sickbed. Boom, smack into the cabin. As you smack into the cabin, you hear the sounds in nearby cabins of other crew members doing the same thing, and you hear running footsteps as one of the engineering team goes running down the halls going, "We've got an emergency. We're in free fall. We're going to try and recover at 4 miles over the ocean so that we don't fall into the mist where we can't navigate. Everybody get out of here. All hands on deck. All hands on deck." And then he like runs off into the distance. Fox, you hear that. What are your initiative rolls, Bruiser and Fox?
Bruiser got a 14.
Okay. I got a 19.
Bruiser got a 14. Fox got a 19. The others of you, Jeb, Owlin, etc., you retained your initiative from last time, which I have written down. So I'll tell you when you're on deck. And then we'll pick it back up from that point. Fox got a 19. Gunner, you're next with Fox on deck. So Gunner, it is your turn. Hang on. Jeb has a hand up before we get into the full initiative here. What's up?
You have FP's initiative, right?
I do. FP's initiative was a 6.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. So Gunner is up with Fox on deck. Gunner, it is your turn.
With the door that Gunner would have been able to use a reaction to get into, where is he on the ship now?
He is in the cockpit with Bruiser, probably holding on to a dial or a pipe or something as his feet, shoot up in the air towards the lens that is the bulbous cockpit shield.
All right, Bruiser, is there anything I can do?
Bruiser left his seat.
Sorry, I had to get my charging cable for my headphones because they're about to die. Can you rotate the engines faster?
I'll try. And no.
No. It's an automated thing. You pull a switch and you wait for them to turn.
Gunner's gonna look at the controls and be like, "I'll try," and then look at the controls and be like, "I'm kidding. I can't try. I don't even know how to do that."
Nothing. I don't need you. Find someone else who needs help.
Gunner's gonna attempt to navigate to. Can Gunner go anywhere?
Yeah, the only way out of the cockpit that is not the main deck is there's a small trapdoor in the floor with crew access that could take you down to the crew quarters on the lower deck, or it could take you to the cargo hold on the lowest deck, and that cargo hold then leads into engineering where Randy is.
Gunner isn't super knowledgeable about engineering, but he's just going to figure that might be the best play. He can at least be a guy there to do something. So he's going to try to head to engineering.
Sure. Gunner heads down to engineering, and while he doesn't make it the whole way there, as he's climbing down the iron, he's climbing down the iron rung ladder, well, really pulling his way down the iron rung ladder as the free fall tries to yank him upwards, you can just hear alarm bells ringing and steam dials whistling and popping and glass shattering, and you can hear Randy going, "That one's fine. This one should get tape. That one that should be okay. I think I'm pretty sure that one's fine. Get my wrench." And then you hear a clang as he tries to fix something. That brings us to Fox's turn. Trevor, yes, you have a hand up.
So the Cugboat was level like that. Did it fall flat down, or did it nosedive?
It is falling flat-ish, unless you want it to nosedive. You can tell me flavor-wise what you want.
Flat-ish.
Okay. Good. Yep. It's wobbling a little bit side to side, but basically you just cut power and so it went zoom and fell downwards. That brings us to Fox's turn. Fox, you're literally laying on the ceiling of your cabin with the free fall. So you're like Spider-Man, hanging from the cabin ceiling.
In a panic, I'm going to grab my equipment and leave the cabin and go for the pilot seat. Go for the cockpit.
Okay.
Figure out what's going on.
To get to the cockpit from where you are, you'll need to go up the main staircase, through the cafeteria, and then into the crew quarters to climb up the iron railing. So that'll be a couple rounds before you get there, but you're definitely headed there. We'll say you dash, so that'll just be next round. You'll make it. So Fox just rushing through the ship, heeding the call of the engineering team who are letting everyone know that things are not great here. That brings us to Owlin's turn with Jeb on deck. Owlin, there is a pink tentacle wrapped around your neck that is restraining you, and you are being dragged down into the abyss by a death kiss that is in the claws of a Tyrannosaurus Rex that is plummeting after a synth man. What would you like to do with your turn?
Yeah.
I just wanted to paint the word picture picture because it's so ridiculous.
For sure.
Alan is going to attempt to escape the grapple. So that's a contested athletics, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. That's a 20. What is 9 minus 2? 27.
That is a successful escape. You are now in free fall all on your own.
Great.
What would you like
The
to do?
situation has not
If anything,
changed.
I guess you can't really do anything as far as move actions, can you?
Does that take a yeah. There's no one else restrained because Jeb is now a dinosaur and FP is falling. Okay.
Right. You could try and grab onto Jeb or
Yes.
FP, like because you're moving, even with them.
Alan is going to try to use the rest of his move action to skydive position himself. For the audio listeners, I'm trying to imitate the skydivers using their arms and legs to kind of swim in the air, sort of.
Let's get an athletics check from Alan.
Okay.
With proficiency.
I was just about to say a disadvantage, and then I was like, "Who am I kidding? This is what
Alan's
this team
done this
does.
many times. This
Yeah, this-
happens consistently for him.
Falling really is this party's thing."
I wouldn't
Yeah.
know, but this also seems like a better time to have briefs than boxers.
Yeah, for sure. It's really helping. Oh, that's
aerodynamics.
That's an 11. That's not great.
Okay, so an 11, you don't fall any further or anything. You're already at terminal velocity, but you are not able to navigate to your companions. You also don't lose them into the mist. Also, I should have specified for you all, and I forgot to. You have 10 rounds before you hit the mists. So we've established, for those of you listening or those of you who weren't with us last week, that the 4 miles above the ocean floor are covered in a navigationally disorienting mist. So it's called the Lost Mist. So you fall into it, it's hard to navigate, you can't find your way back out again. The Cugboat was 6 miles off the ground. So there are 2 miles of free fall here where if they can get their crap together, they don't become lost. If they get any lower than that, things start to get really interesting. So was that the conclusion of Alan's turn?
Yeah, I don't think you can do anything else with a bonus action that's very useful. So
Okay, that ends Alan's turn and brings us to Jeb with Bruiser on deck.
As I understand it, the Death Kiss is within the clutches of
It sure
T-Rex
is.
Jeb's mouth.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, too, it was bleeding last time.
Yes.
So I think T-Rex Jeb is going to crunch. Since the thing is restrained, he's just going to snatch down on it, which means that the attack is at advantage because it's restrained.
So it's restrained by his bite.
Yes.
Okay.
That is
just crunch even
a
harder.
18 to hit,
And 18 hits.
which means it's going to take 4d12 plus 7 piercing damage,
Nice.
which is 40 piercing damage.
Holy
40
cow.
piercing damage.
Nice.
Okay. That's
It's not medium or smaller, so I can't swallow it.
and that
And
was
if it wants to try to escape, it's a DC 17.
and that's
to get
piercing
away.
damage, right?
Yes, that is piercing damage.
Okay. You take
Those aren't the words I want to hear.
Yeah, I know, right? You take 5 points of lightning damage. As
interesting.
when you draw blood with your piercing attack, some of it kind of conducts electricity right into you. And so you feel a little zap.
That was
from
5 points, you said?
Yeah, 5 points of lightning damage.
Gotcha.
And does that conclude Jeb's turn? I guess as long as he's grappling, he's not going to move, right?
It has a tail attack, but I can't do that to the same target that I'm biting, is what it says here.
Or in free fall.
Well, I mean, there's that
Yeah.
too, but
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I don't have the intelligence to know to try to even bother with Owland. He's just like,
Great.
chompy, bad thing, chomp, chompy, chomp, 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 chomp.
So, Bruiser, it is your turn. Because of the initiative order, Freefall, Owlin, and Jeb and the Death Kiss have already fallen their 500 feet this round, but FP has not. So the Cugboat is even with FP, but has not pulled ahead of him. You're just like right, side by side with him because he fell 500 feet and then you fell 500 feet. So now you have pulled even with him. This is one of the challenges of turn-based combat, covering lots of distances, listeners, but we're doing the best we can here. It is Bruiser's turn with FP on deck.
How far off of the Cugboat is FP?
FP is 20 feet to the side of the Cugboat.
Would Bruiser be able to fly out, get him, and bring him and make it back to the cockpit?
Interesting. Bruiser could try. His inertia would carry over from the boat he's on. So I think as long as he was flying when he left, I wouldn't make him take.
You have a magic earring and you can communicate with me if you, and I also can fly. So if you need to stay in the cockpit, communicate that to Clara.
That's true. So
my turn is before FP.
But yes, I think, Bruiser, that's a possibility. The boat will not go anywhere else without you, but it will not, you know what I mean? Like it won't leave, but it also won't steer or do anything else. So you would have to fly out and get back this turn.
I think Bruiser would just use the earring to communicate with Clara.
Sure. Just do that.
Yeah. We, FP should be in line with us. If you could get him, while he's right there, that would be great. So we can focus on getting everyone else in, and that's one less thing we have to.
I'm
worry
on
about.
it. Can you catch up with the others?
Yes.
All right, I've got FP.
We forgot to roll initiative for Clara because before she was the boat in initiative order. So if everyone's comfortable with it, I'll just put Clara right after Bruiser in the initiative order since he just communicated to her, and we'll just go with that. So Clara will just put you next, and that means that when Bruiser says his turn's over, you are up, and then FP's on deck.
Yeah, Bruiser is like he working frantically, but like in this kind of moment of like, well, we're just falling. He's just thinking to himself about whatever
to myself, what a wonderful fall.
What's Bruiser thinking about?
Just how much these people have helped him out and meant to him over this past adventure, starting to reflect on the past given the circumstance.
It's like kind of their lives flashing before his eyes sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He wants to save everyone.
Yeah. That'll bring us to Clara's turn. Clara, who is right at the hatch, you as well can make it up the hatch and fly out and fly back and get down in the hatch. It will be an athletics check, and it would be for Bruiser as well for you to grab a falling person and drag them back with you with like all the turbulence of the ship falling next to you and stuff. It'll be an athletics check.
Okay. My initial goal is just to catch him and grab onto him and get a grip on him. Not necessarily immediately pull him back. Okay. I just want to get to the point where we are able to fly together.
Sure.
I don't know if that changes the rules, but okay. So Clara's like, close the hatch behind me, Garlel. And she's going to jump out and immediately leap into the air. Clara has like little hummingbird wings and they're just like, and she is headed for FP as quick as she can.
She can make it this round. So she makes it over to FP, and unless FP is going to resist, she's able to grab hold of him.
He is not going to resist.
Okay.
Unlike our first time where we met in an air duct.
Hello, Clara. What? I am ever so. I guess there's like wind rushing by our ears. I am ever so happy to see you in this place. I wish it were on more boring terms.
I do too. I rolled an 8, but I forgot that I wanted to use a luck point. Is it okay if I do it anyway? So you're supposed to choose that before.
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
I'm going to use a luck point to re-roll my and take the better roll.
Okay.
Okay, that's an 11.
What are we rolling for?
This is athletics to try and hold on to FP and just get to the point where like the two of us are not plummeting. Like we're going to start
You're going to try and slow
fight
his descent?
Yeah, we're going to try to slow the descent.
Unfortunately, an 11 is not going to be enough to hold him up against the gravity that's pulling him down,
Okay.
but you don't lose your grip. So you are with FP, but you do take the 500 feet of plummet when
That's
FP
fine.
falls. That'll be his turn when that
FP,
happens.
hang on. We've got this. Come on, FP.
That brings us to FP's turn.
Great Kelnor above.
I was going to try a thing, but now I'm worried that that thing will hurt you. So
If you
keep
got a
doing-
plan, I can fly. Let go of me. If you got a plan, what are you doing?
I am worried about that monster up there.
Still,
And he's like pointing at the.
you are falling.
Yes. It is very scary, and I don't want it to hurt any of my family.
If we can stop falling, I will
Priorities.
help you fight the monster.
Family.
Okay. Wish me luck. And he goes to eat another Sacrium coin.
Oh, great Kelnor.
Okay. Yeah, he does. I believe that's a percentile die from you.
Yep. That is
Josh,
an 80.
Yes, Trevor?
I rolled a 4 on the thruster d6.
Okay, so it'll be 4 rounds before it has fully rotated, and then you can outrun them.
Yes.
Okay, you rolled an 80, right, Wash? Mm-hmm. Illusory butterflies and flower petals flutter in the air within 10 feet of you for the next minute. Clara, with her hummingbird
Amazing.
wings, flies out, grabs hold of you, and then Clara, as you're holding on, trying desperately to slow him, as you flap your wings, a bunch of little butterflies start flapping their wings as well, and then they kind of disappear, spiraling up into the mist until the lashing T-Rex tail, like, kind of cuts through them all. And
Well, that was magical. Is that what you meant to happen?
This is one of the better things that could.
that brings
and,
us to. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, that's not the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he ate that coin so that he could use another one of his ciphers,
okay.
his integrated ciphers.
No, he just ate it for fun.
Yeah, just for funsies, you know.
I have a plan.
Got to get all the effects out of the way first. No,
drugs.
he's going to cast Misty Step
Okay.
with this, which will teleport him up to 30 feet. Is he still within 20 feet of the ship?
He is.
Then he says, I am sorry, this is kind of... and then he just like and disappears in this big poofy cloud of like butterflies and stuff. And so I guess it just sees that he just like poofed out. But he is now on the deck of the ship.
Great. FP on the deck of the ship. You see Clara is flying, so she's like holding her position. She has a hover speed, so she's out there holding her position. FP, you misty step onto the deck of the Cugboat. What is your move speed?
His move speed is pretty good. He's a rogue. Let's see. He has a move speed of 40.
Okay, so your move speed is halved because it's difficult climbing terrain.
Okay.
Because you have to basically climb across the railing on the main deck. Otherwise, it's
Right.
smooth. You have two options.
Yeah, I figured he was holding the railing is kind of what he was going for.
Yeah, so you have two options now. You can either hang on to the railing with your feet shooting up in the air and try and climb to one of the entrances. Because you kind of teleported straight into the boat, basically, you're 40
Right.
feet from either entrance because 20 feet in, 10 feet over. So 40 feet from
Gotcha.
either way to safety. Or you can go 20 feet to one of the harness points on the main deck. You have those big iron anchor points and try to lash yourself in with a harness, which all of them have a harness clipped into them. We established that way back when you built the boat. But to do that will be a sleight of hand check. So you're letting go of the railing to try and harness yourself in. So it's sleight of hand versus falling back off the boat.
Oh, well, I think he's going to take that big biscuit risk because he's feeling lucky.
He's risking it for the
Ayo.
biscuit.
He's also a rogue. He can make a sleight of hand check.
Well, also, he has a grappler.
Very cool.
So, like, could I get a little bit of a bonus from having a little grappling hook that he could like swing over there and
Is FP normally
pull himself
proficient with
towards
sleight
it?
of hand?
actually he is proficient in sleight of hand.
Okay, then just roll it with advantage. I was going to give you proficiency bonus if you didn't, but that's fine.
Gotcha. Maybe what he'll do is hook the grappling hook to the where he's at now.
Oh yeah, that would give him an advantage on the check for sure.
So like as he's climbing or like going over there, he's kind of like using the tension that. That is a 17 plus 8. Woo. So that's like a 25.
Oh yeah, FP is harnessed in. So now FP, like right now he's holding himself to the railing, but if he wanted to let go and fight, he would just do so at the end of, 30 feet of harness rope, but he's anchored on.
Yep.
So that is that piece taken care of. And I think, or unless you're going to bonus action, that's your turn, right?
That was his bonus action to Misty Step.
Great. So that's FP's
Which means,
turn.
does he have an action?
No, he just anchored himself.
Okay. Yep. That's good. No, he is locked and loaded and ready to not be bored anymore.
That brings us to the Death Kiss's turn. The Death Kiss only has one person nearby to fight, and it's Owlin. Although Owlin escaped from its, it has the T-Rex that's clamped onto it. Owlin escaped from its grasp. The T-Rex is holding onto its tentacles, not quite the way it wanted to grapple that enemy. The Death Kiss is going to first attempt to grapple Owlin again. So Owlin, it's going to roll an attack against your AC.
Is being grappled by Jeb any sort of modifier to that?
I'm
Do I
giving
have
it
any
disadvantage.
Extra chance?
I'm giving it disadvantage.
Nice.
Okay, so it misses the first attack. It has a multi-attack of 3, so it's going to make another attack against you. Again, with disadvantage. It misses. And then it's going to make a final attack on you.
It's the final attack.
Which it misses. So 3 tentacle attacks, but it's hard to hit a moving target while grappled by a Tyrannosaurus Rex while falling next to a boat.
Especially when the moving target is trying to like skydive onto the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah.
A well-documented and common occurrence that is just
Yeah. It's just,
one of the classic blunt.
classic.
Yeah. It is going to look, its little eyes look towards the boat. And it sees FP, who's just like harnessed himself in, and it just looks towards him, and it does this like, and it begins trying to intimidate you in not undercommon, in abyssal, and it says to FP, you are the first of your line, and you will be the last, and it's going to roll to intimidate FP.
That's pretty rude.
It is.
FP, you can roll to resist. With I don't remember what the skill to resist that is. Maybe just charisma?
Insight?
It might be insight, just like it is with deception. That makes sense.
You gotta see the bluff.
Yeah. DC to beat is a 14 with your insight. You're muted.
That's a solid 10.
A solid 10. FP, you are conditioned frightened for the next round of the Death Kiss. And that will end the Death Kiss's turn, which brings us to the top of initiative. So the boat crew are going to take a turn, and then Gunner is on deck. So Bruiser has the control of what the boat crew are going to do this round.
I think just not too much to do at the moment. Just keep falling and getting the thrusters turned around.
Okay, so the crew are going to basically just hold their action.
Yeah.
Sure. That brings us to Gunner's turn with Fox on deck. Gunner, you are down in the engineering room, or you will be this turn with your move. Randy is in there with the other 2 engineering folks, and they're just like constantly, like steam begins escaping from a valve. They wrap it in like flex seal, like they're just constantly trying to solve problems in the engineering room. As soon as you run in, Randy's like, good, grab a screwdriver. And
all right.
Is Gunner just going to stay down there and help?
Gunner's going to stay down there and help whatever physical advantage that can give the crew. I don't know, but like,
Sure.
Assist in anything that can happen.
So with your permission, I'll just pull him out of the initiative order unless you decide he wants to re-enter it. Okay.
No, he's fine. He'll just assist.
Great. That brings us to Fox's turn with Owlin on deck.
It's turning a screwdriver and stirring soup are not that different.
You're right. They're pretty
speaking.
similar.
Yeah.
Proficiency.
So I guess it's going to take the rest of my turn to, action point wise, to get to the cockpit.
Just a normal move. So you have an
okay.
action and a bonus action available.
I'm going to get to the cockpit and be like, Status. I need a status. What is it? Why are we falling?
Because companions are falling. We got to catch up to them.
What? Okay. Can I do anything to help?
Go see if anyone else on the ship needs help.
Gotcha. Fox is going to go onto the deck.
Okay, Fox, to go onto the deck, to be clear, like as soon as you open the door and go onto the deck, you are in danger of falling.
Is there anything to grab onto from the door?
The door is in the center of the cockpit. So I'm going to need an acrobatics check because you're going sideways. Acrobatics check to get to the railing and hold on to it. And if you miss, you're going up in the air.
I peek my head out the door and I stop and I hold my action for now.
Okay. Great. Fox is going to hold his action. That brings us to Owlin's turn with Jeb on deck. Owlin, again, you are
can at
free
least-
falling near the death kiss, which is just snap, 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 almost like whip motions, reached out to try and lash you with its tentacles, but it keeps missing.
Okay, Alan is going to try to use, I think, he's going to try to use an action to once again, like basically ride the fall of the T-Rex.
Okay.
Try to dive onto that.
Sure. Owlin is moving over to the T-Rex.
I rolled a 2 on the die twice when trying to do this. So it's
Owlin
another
is
11.
trying, but it's really hard to maneuver while skydiving. Maybe it's the turbulent, like this is a thing he's used to doing, but he's not used to doing it with the turbulence of a falling airship next to him. And so it's like messing up the
I can't believe
aerodynamics.
that. That's 2 11s or 2 2s on the die.
Also, I love the mental image of Owlin, who is wearing like suspenders and briefs, and that's it, falling with like all his tools are like streaming behind him. He has like a hula skirt of like the rod of intelligence and his flamethrower and, probably like a hammer or something. Like it's all just like streaming
man.
behind him.
Jeez. Because the goal here is to ride the T-Rex and then shoot the Death Kiss with his various implements such as flamethrower and rifle of ice knife.
If he pulls this off, it will become the best fan art possible.
I know, but he just can't seem to do this. He's still at range to the Death Kiss, right? Like he's not in melee.
No. He's, because the Death Kiss had him 10 feet away, so he would need to maneuver to it as well.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to do that. I don't think there's anything I can really utilize for my bonus action here. So I think it's just like, all right, try again. That's it.
Okay. That brings us to Jeb the T-Rex's turn with Bruiser on deck.
Jump. He's just going to try to crush this thing like a Concord grape.
Yeah, he is.
Ooh, not as good. That is a 16 to hit.
Attacker's winning a tie, and so he continues to damage it.
All right. That is another 4d12 plus 7, 22 points of damage.
22 points of damage. Great. And then he's going to take... You take 7 points of lightning damage as because the creature is bleeding, the lightning charge that it kind of builds up in its bloodstream is arcing across the T-Rex's face. Is that all Jeb's doing?
He don't have the brains to try to move or anything like that. He's just like chomping this thing as much as he can.
T-Rex eat.
Is it looking like it's getting close to being like bad?
I mean, it's like bleeding from a couple cuts that you've put into it, but it doesn't seem like it's dying.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he may make a tiny subconscious mental note about that.
Okay.
In his tiny subconscious.
So
That's right.
with that, Jeb, Owlin, and Death Kiss all continue their fall. So they are 500 feet down. FP and Clara are still even with the boat. Bruiser, it is your turn.
Is Clara 20 feet off?
Yeah, Clara's 20 feet off where FP was, but she's also flying, so she can probably get herself back on the boat.
FP's
Bruiser, FP's on board.
tied to
Have
the
you
boat
got
now.
him?
Yeah.
He misty stepped.
Can Bruiser see FP from the cockpit, or
No.
does he have to peek around?
But Fox can, actually. Fox is looking out on the deck. Fox, you can see that FP has harnessed himself in.
Fox,
Okay.
is FP out there?
Yeah. I'm still trying to catch up with.
I am here. I am on the deck, and I am harnessed in.
18 seconds ago, Fox was sleeping. Just so we're clear on how
so
this fight
sorry,
is
Fox.
going.
What is?
Clara, he's okay.
Is
Okay,
that Jeb?
I'm gonna go try to help Jeb and Olin.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Be safe.
Wait. Tell her to come back.
Fox wants you to come back.
Why?
Why?
I have a plan.
I have a
Yeah.
plan. Talk to me.
You both have a plan, apparently.
As long as you're not touching the creature, I can solve this problem really fast.
As long as you're not touching the creature, Fox says he can solve the problem very fast.
I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna go
No,
touch
them.
Alan in a non-creepy way.
And that is the
Fox.
third charge on the earring of message that the two of you are
Yep.
wearing. And so the spell has ended until your next long rest.
Goodness.
Those of you listening at home, you couldn't see it, but Clara Albuquerque just did a peace sign like, peace out. I'm out of here, to go in a non-creepy way. Touch Alan. Okay. Bruiser, what are you doing as far as your action this turn?
I think he's just gonna continue making sure the ship is on track, nothing goes wrong.
Sure, just keeping the boat steady. That
Yep.
brings us to Clara Albuquerque's turn with FP62 on deck. The boat is now plummeting 500 feet. So, Clara, the boat is ahead of you, but your turn will involve falling, so you can fall and keep up with it.
Oh, I was not cut out for this. I am a baker. And she's going to try to dive bomb in the same way as before, plummet,
Yep.
and catch up and snatch onto Owlin. The goal is not to lift him, but just to anchor herself to Owlin. I
Sure.
don't know if that's an action.
She has the move speed to catch up with him. It's only an action if Alan resists. Alan, are you okay with Clara latching onto you, or are you going to try and resist?
Alan's okay with that.
Okay.
Owlin! Question for the DM.
Yeah.
Last time you expressed that these creatures could be communicated to and they were persuadable, but I could you repeat that sound bite for me?
I couldn't repeat the soundbite, but I can go look it up and give you the information again. 1 second.
That would be helpful. I will
Also,
talk to Owlin.
chat is asking about why the boat is falling. This is an airship. They just named it the Cug Boat. So now it gets confusing in the way we talk about it. Okay.
It's the
You know-
SS Happy Orc.
You know that a death kiss is a lesser beholder. It's usually slave to other beholders or works on behalf of them. Excuse me. You know that it consumes ingested blood, which it uses to generate electrical energy and to heal itself. You know that it is intelligent enough to be intimidated or persuaded, but it lacks finesse or high intelligence. So it's not very strategic, but you can scare it off or convince it like this will be good for you. There are creatures that often serve as lieutenants, but they're mostly minions in that capacity. So they're kind of like a big, scary deterrent force, so to speak. And the languages they understand are deep speech or abyssal and undercommon.
All right. Do I still have an action or is everything have
You
I
have
done
not
everything?
used an action
Okay.
yet. You've used your move speed. The free falling it's just happening to you. So you fell 500 feet. You used your move speed, which is a fly speed of up to 70 feet
Okay.
to get to Owlin. You still have an action available to you.
I'm going to try to be a backpack on the back of Owlin, latch my little hands in with my little feet.
Yoda style.
Be a backpack. Now he looks like he has pretty little tiny wings. And I'm going to be like, Owlin, if you think of anything smart to say, tell me. And I'm going to use my universal speech feature.
Okay.
As an action, choose one or more creatures in 60 feet of you. The creatures can magically understand you for up to an hour.
Alan just responds, thanks for saving my life.
Very smart. What do you want to tell the big ugly? Okay. And so then she's going to start screaming at it. Just like, you don't know who you're dealing with. We are undefeated in battle. Get out and save yourself. There's a weapon we will destroy you with. And just try and tell the death kiss and anything else in that 60-foot range
Sure.
up to like 5 or something that they should skedaddle.
There's only the death kiss, so this isn't relevant
Okay.
right now, but you have to pick one creature that you target with that ability.
Says choose one or more.
one or more.
Up to
You're right.
your charisma mod number.
Never mind, I'm
which
wrong.
Is
You're right.
6.
But there is still just the death.
That
kiss.
is fine.
So
I will not try to scare away the T-Rex. He looks friendly.
Go ahead and roll your intimidation check. The death kiss has rolled its opposed check.
I've got an 18.
You've got an 18. The death kiss immediately begins straining against the T-Rex that is holding it in place, kind of flailing and trying to pull itself away from Clara and Owlin. It can't because there's a T-Rex holding it in its jaws. But it's going to, in fact, it's going to roll to escape as a legendary action. It's going to try and break out. So here comes that roll to escape. I just rolled a corner, so I'm rolling again. Here's its roll to escape. It does not succeed with a 3 on the die. So it remains grappled. And that will conclude Clara Albuquerque's turn and bring us to FP62, who is anchored to the deck of the falling ship with the death kiss on deck, so to speak. FP62, you stand anchored to the deck by a harness, holding onto the railing, which you can let go of if you want to use your weapons or whatever this turn. To your right, in the cockpit, Fox is standing there in the doorway, kind of looking out at you, but not poking out far enough to be in danger. And then across the railing from you, the death kiss is grappled by a T-Rex. So just underneath the death kiss is a T-Rex. This is about, I would say, 40 feet off the deck. 20 feet off the deck is Clara sticking off of Owlin like a backpack, yelling at it. They are not obstructing your line of sight to the death kiss for whatever you might want to do. And that brings us to your turn.
FP is like, he's got the harness thing, and I think he's going to like push, like he's terrified of this thing. And the thought of him being like now being unique and being an individual and not just one of many of an assembly line, is kind of fearing for the preservation of his life. And so he like pushes, like he walks back a little bit and pushes himself away, but the harness tightens. And knowing that he can't push himself, he's going to draw his rifle and try to shoot it. It's going to be at disadvantage because he's afraid.
Yes.
But the creature is grappled, so it's like not.
You're right.
Because
So
he
it
would have advantage. He would have
which would
advantage.
cancel out.
And since he didn't walk last turn, or no, like, yeah, since he can't move this turn, he can use steady aim, which will give him advantage.
Well, didn't you just say he tried to move away and the harness tightened? So that harness has
Right.
30 feet of length. So like he would be climbing
it
hand
does.
over hand on the railing. He would get 30 feet and it would tighten, which is not enough to
Okay.
get to the door of the cockpit.
So it's a normal attack roll, but the creature's grappled. He has essentially he's got like enemies flanking it. So if this hits, it's going to be a sneak attack.
Right.
All right.
Can he do it?
Come on, Uranian sniper.
8 plus 8 to hit.
16 ties its
16.
AC. Attacker wins in a tie.
So that means that we roll 66 plus 12 plus 4,
Nice.
which is 11 plus 4 is 15, plus 5 is 20, plus 3 and 3 is 26, plus 4 is 30, plus 3 is 33, plus 4 is 37 points of piercing
37
damage.
points of piercing damage. FP lines up the shot, and this falling mass of kind of livid flesh with this big red eye in the center, FP lines up right on the eye and gets this insane shot right into it for 37 points of damage. And the creature, which is already straining to pull away from Clara, who has intimidated it, now it's starting to look really looking out of sorts. It's significantly bleeding. That shot that you just hit it with actually took one of the tentacles off as it came out the other side. You know, it's like you're really starting to beat this thing up. So that will be that turn.
I'm sorry. Just the idea of just being like, yeah, you shot it. The exit wound ripped off the limb. I think you're kind of beating him up.
Yeah.
I think he's kind
It's
of
showing some wear.
It has 10 tentacles. So they're like thin little, piercing tentacles. They're not like
Not
big buff
anymore.
arms.
That's why they're called tentacles.
That's
got
right.
9 tentacles now.
There we go.
Tentacles. Okay, so FP takes the shot. Even through his fear, is able to get a really good shot off and hit the death kiss. When he hits
And
the
he-
death kiss, Jeb as a T-Rex takes
Oh, that's fine.
6 points of lightning damage as the blood kind of falls. Some of it falls onto Jeb's face,
Yeah.
and so the lightning kind of shrinks across him. The death kiss is going to. It's going to attack Jeb with all 3 tentacles. It has, I
to make
believe,
sense.
advantage on attacks against a creature that's grappling it. It just has disadvantage on everything else. Is that right, or do I have it backwards?
That doesn't make
It
sense.
might be
but
that
I'm
the
not sure.
grappling creature has advantage.
Usually it's that, I think.
It grapples
Yes,
creatures. Speed
your
becomes
its attacks
0.
are normal against you, disadvantage against others. Grappler has advantage. Sorry, that's my bad. So it's going to attack
Gotcha.
3 times against Jebasaurus Rex. The first attack is a 21 to hit.
His AC is 13.
Okay.
So that one hits.
The first attack hits. The second one barely misses, and the third one is a natural 20.
Ooh.
Nice.
So it hits Jeb with the first tentacle, boom, lances into Jeb, and it deals 11 points of lightning damage, and now Jebasaurus Rex is also grappled. The second tentacle is going to boom, lance into Jeb, and it's going to deal. Why did I put these dice away? I knew it was going to hit him twice. It's going to deal 12 points of piercing damage, and then it's going to use its legendary action to use its blood drain. So you need to make a DC 16 Constitution saving throw, Jebasaurus Rex.
Okay. Good thing I've got 19 Constitution.
Hey yo.
Ooh, not good. That's a 6 plus 4, so 10. Only 10 on the con save.
Uh-oh.
Gross.
This could be bad for Jebasaurus Rex. Jebasaurus
So-
Rex, you take 37 points of
Whoa.
lightning damage, and you see some of the cuts healing over the skin of the Death Kiss as this happens, as it sucks life force out of the T-Rex. And 37, isn't that how much you just dealt to it? That's so frustrating. Okay.
Regrows that
Just
tentacle.
now,
It does not
just
regrow the
now.
tentacle. Yeah?
the Jebasaurus Rex starts to bleed a little.
The eye widens and it begins flailing even more frantically, trying to get away. It's like, that was a paper cut. And it starts trying to get away. The falling combat continues as we return to the boat's turn. At this moment in time, the boat is even with everybody. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, because the boat falls on Bruiser's turn. So everyone is even with each other right now. So the boat has fallen just off the deck of the boat. 20 feet off is Owlin with Clara, bonus Clara. And then about 10 or 20 feet from them is the Death Kiss with a T-Rex hanging off of it fighting.
I prefer to think of it as Clara with bonus Owlin.
Bruiser, do you want to deploy anybody on the crew at the moment or no?
Could he do a small arms fire?
Yeah, the crew could return small arms fire. The portholes on the two stabilizing fins on that side of your airship get kicked open as Rex and Sasha take a knee, and each of them holds up a rifle of ice knife and begins returning fire. I believe you've got the roll to hit and stuff on your sheet there, Trevor.
Yep, I do. And the Kugba, okay, it has its own stats.
They're up at the top of your...
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I made, for those of you listening who may not have joined us last week, I took the average of all the crew NPCs on the Cug boat and made those the stats of the crew, so that when we roll attacks like this, we just have to roll.
That
based on
is
those.
a 9 to hit on the first attack.
Okay, the
which
first
does
attack
not.
is a miss.
And the second attack is a...
Aren't these at advantage because
Ooh.
it's restrained?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are. Good call.
Okay.
So use your second roll as the advantage for the first attack.
Well, I'm glad that it didn't have. It was a natural one.
Oh, well, that's
So-
good. So that turns into a 9. And then the
Yes.
crew gets one more attack with advantage.
Yeah. First roll was 11. Second roll was 5. So then 11 plus the dex is 3 is 14.
Okay, so none of the small arms attacks hit, but none of them hit your teammates either. It's hard to aim at a creature outside of a falling airship with a tiny porthole-sized opening. Okay, this is not rocket, or this is kind of rocket science.
The Cug boat, missed all of our attacks last week as well.
Okay, that concludes the Cug boat's turn, and it brings us to Fox with Owlin on deck.
All right. I think I get about as much as I'm gonna get. I'm going to pull out my little sax, and I'm just gonna be like, burp, 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 and I'm gonna whisper and point
Careless.
at the Jebediah Rex. So, like, what are the chances you could let go of that thing, and I could save your butt?
Jevosaurus
well,
Rex
with
hears
my-
a strange grunting in its head.
With my intelligence of 2, can I roll an intelligence check to see if I comprehend this?
Yeah. I'm not going to make Fox roll anything to persuade you. Fox is a bard. I'm going to say if you roll higher than a 10, then you are
Okay,
able to
okay.
comprehend the basic command of like open your mouth, like say and you can kind of get the idea that that's what the grunting wants. And otherwise you're like, I don't know, I'm attacking.
-4. Here we go. Oh, that's just teasing me. I rolled
it,
a
a
13 for a 9.
Fox,
But
you
you
whisper
see
to
the
it.
T-Rex head like turn around and to look at you and go. It's just like,
Yeah, the T-Rex turns to look at you. The flailing death kiss is like swung at the end of a pendulum as it turns to look at you, but it still can't pull away. That Fox,
All right.
that's your action. You want to do a move or a bonus action?
I'm. How far away is? I'm assuming Jevosaurus Rex is the furthest.
Yes,
person from me.
Jevosaurus Rex is the furthest from you, and it would be somewhere in the realm of like 80 to 90 feet.
All right.
see, now if you just said bad, drop it. Maybe Josh would have given us advantage or something like
Right.
that. But
I'm going to take a deep breath. Do a little roll for myself,
Okay.
which I passed. I'm just gonna shoot out the door. I'm just gonna kick off with reckless abandon
Okay.
towards
dear.
Jevosaurus.
Okay. So you're
We're
leaping
trying to
off
get
the
people
boat.
on the boat.
Are you
Yeah, I'm
jumping
gonna
off the
kick
boat?
off. I'm kicking off the boat.
Sure. Fox the Rogue, very dexterous, easily able to make the jump. Roll an acrobatics check. Let's see if you can make it the whole way to Jevosaurus Rex using like free
Well-
fall basically and the force of your jump.
I'm not trying to get too close to the thing that I.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That Jevosaurus Rex.
What is your goal?
I'm just trying to get closer, and I don't mind going off the boat for it.
Sure.
I'm just trying to get towards him.
Okay.
Let's say, depending on how high I roll here, is however far I get, and if I roll too high, that's my own fault.
Just roll and I'll tell you where you end up
Okay.
maybe.
I got a 22.
22. You are easily able to make it at least as far as where Alan and Clara are, which would put you about 10,
Perfect.
15 feet away from the creature. So you have just leapt off the boat, basically like Superman diving. Boom, FP, you take your shot, you rest for a second to watch what happens, and Fox shoots by over your shoulder as he launches quietly out into the abyss, basically.
that is not the correct way.
Continuing to fall. And Clara and Owlin probably don't notice because they're looking at the creature they're attacking for sure. So, Fox, you appear like right behind them basically, but they're not aware of you.
And I do have my reaction.
You do. You have a bonus action, I believe, as well, right?
Yes.
That
I'm
was your
gonna
move.
use my bonus action reaction.
Well, you don't have to use both. A bonus action and a reaction are two different things.
Oh, okay.
So you can
I'm
use
gonna
a
my
reaction on someone else's turn or use it now. Sure.
I'm gonna use it now to cast. I'm gonna pull up my sax and be like, "Broo, broo, broo." I listen. You're getting what you're getting today. For the sax
I
noises.
love
All
you,
right.
Cleo.
Boop beep beep boop boop boop.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going broop broop broop, and we're casting Featherfall, and I can cast it onto up to 5 people.
Ooh.
And I can cast it on myself, and Alan gets a Featherfall, and Jebasaurus Rex gets a Featherfall, and Clara gets a Featherfall. And is there anybody else that is not the kiss thing?
Nope. That is everybody who's out here.
Then that's everybody who gets Featherfall.
Okay.
Everyone.
The T-Rex is
Good
going to hold
gets a
up the Death
Featherfall.
Kiss, just so we're clear. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid that, but
okay.
I'm
Here we are.
worried.
So, Fox, because you did this at the top of initiative order, you leap out there. FP sees Fox shoot by, basically horizontal plane, Superman dive, whizzes over his shoulder. Fox rolls over, I guess, onto his back in order to hold the saxophone without the wind resistance taking his breath away. Laying on his back, falling kind of angelic looking. Owlin and Clara, 5 feet away from you with no warning whatsoever, you hear a saxophone go, "Bora, bora, bora," and all of a sudden your fall is slowed by a factor of 600% from 500 feet per round to 60 feet per round. Magically. And so you just get that like kind of stomach wrenching vertigo feeling as like the fall is over, basically. The boat is not arrested by Featherfall. So you come to a stop.
I probably should have told the pilot
The boat
before I left.
boom, just takes off 500 feet out of sight into the mist, or not into the mist, but out of sight vertically on its way down. You maybe see like a little tiny 1-inch deck of the boat down there. The thrusters are 2 turns away from being able to go vertically because it has been adjusting to outrun you in free fall. The T-Rex is arrested, and because of the momentum of the not arrested Death Kiss, the Death Kiss inverts the T-Rex, which is now suspended above it as the T-Rex holds it in place. There's no roll. The T-Rex is easily strong enough to catch the relatively tiny Death Kiss in its teeth. But now they're just flipped over. Its tail goes swinging between Fox and Owlin, barely, like the wind brushing you as it inverts upwards. And now you're all floating here in the suddenly, there's no howling wind. You can't hear the water, which is several miles below you still. You're just suspended, gently falling 60 feet per second. Fox laying on his back, playing a tune on his saxophone in midair. Clara yelling at the Death Kiss.
Clara,
Death
your
Kiss
wings are
flailing
extremely
and
strong.
straining and trying to get away. The boat gone? And that brings us to Owlin's turn.
I take a breath real quick and look to Alan. So, care to explain?
You've recovered at the perfect time, and Alan will say that and unsling his rifle of ice knife and take aim at the Death Kiss.
Yeah, he will. I just cannot get this mental picture of Fox laying on his back, like whispering to Owlin, "Hey, how's it going?" Like hits him with a one-liner, has his saxophone out.
Fox, who's deathly afraid of heights.
Yeah, Fox
Saving
overcame his
our
fear.
butts.
Let's talk about that.
What
Okay,
a
go ahead,
hero.
Owlin.
Alan rolled a natural 1.
Not a
Owlin
hero.
pulls out his ice knife and drops it. The rifle, he like fumbles the rifle and it, fall. He's trying not to hit Clara with the butt end of the rifle as he pulls it out, and it just topples. And Owlin loses his rifle of ice knife into the abyss below.
Alan just like has his hands over his face for a second, like in embarrassment and frustration. Just like
Maybe Bruiser will grab it.
That's hilarious. Bruiser, roll a percentile die. Wash, roll a percentile die. Cleo, decide over or under.
You know what? I'm going under.
Under. Bruiser, if your roll is under Wash's roll.
Because the ship's going under.
Or Trevor, if your roll is under Wash's roll, then the rifle will land heavily on the deck of the Cugboat.
You better roll low, son.
I did roll low.
I rolled a 17.
I rolled a 12.
Let's go! Alan's rifle of ice knife slams into the deck at high speed. FP easily has the reflexes now that he is not in combat to reach out and grab it. FP has his gun in one hand and the ice knife rifle in the other hand. He is now suspended by the harness clips to his waistband, like 30 feet above the Cugboat as it begins trying to arrest its fall.
If he was within range of the bad guy, he could be like Rambo right now.
Right.
Yeah, FP is feeling very American right now.
That brings us to Jebasaurus Rex's turn, I think, unless Alan is going to do anything else.
No, Alan's next turn is going to very carefully try to get out the flamethrower.
Jeb's turn. With Bruiser on deck.
Well, I mean, Jebasaurus Rex would have just crunched down on this thing, but he kind of like has a little confused puppy dog eyes, and he like turns to Fox and he's like,
I told you to drop him. If you drop it,
Drop it.
it's no longer gonna hurt you.
Drop it.
I rolled a
Drop
natural
it.
20 on my intelligence
Yeah,
check.
you understand. Jebasaurus Rex understands.
Well, I think he's just going to kind of like go
Throw it.
swing his head and just be like, "Wah," and just like try
Just
to
fling it into
swing
the distance.
Yeah, it's been grappling him, so I assume this is like an opposed strength check unless it chooses to ungrapple him.
Yeah, it is not going to ungrapple him. So this is essentially a roll to escape because he's releasing his own grapple. So go ahead and
Okay.
roll athletics or, just athletics. It'll just be trained or untrained depending on whether a T-Rex has any training in athletics.
It surprisingly does not,
Oh, well, rip.
but it has
it's
a
a
25
wild.
strength, so it's still a plus
is that.
7.
DC to beat
That
here
is-
is 14.
Oh, I rolled a 14, so it's 14
Heyo.
plus 7.
Easy peasy.
So that's 21.
Yeah,
Let's go.
there's just not a comparison between the grip strength of two flimsy tentacles and the throw strength of a Tyrannosaurus Rex's neck.
Yeah.
As it just
It's the neck
you know,
muscles, yeah.
chucks this creature off into the distance, hissing and tentacles flailing. And even though it has a fly speed, it kicks in its fly speed and it leaves. It flies away.
And Jebasaurus Rex just like gutturally roars at the top of its lungs at the thing.
The roar echoes into the distance. We have left combat, so I'm going to leave combat initiative and assume that Bruiser is going to try and arrest the fall of the boat next, right? Seeing his
Yep,
companions shoot off into
Yep.
the distance above
Yep.
him.
He's gonna,
Bruiser, undoes the thrusters, so it takes another 2
So-
rounds, which is plenty of time for you to not hit the mists, for the boat to come to a rest. 2 rounds or 12 seconds of the rest of you just floating there, wondering if anything's going to happen. And then
I
down.
just don't want to be that downer guy. I'm talking to Alan. But I just want you all to know we have
Music.
we don't have a lot of time.
Are we dying? Am I dead? I was
well,
crying, but my tears were flying upwards so quickly.
Jebasaurus Rex is now
Am
upside
I
down.
okay?
He's just like slowly rotating.
If you could
No,
estimate
we're-
how many seconds we have,
How long since I've casted Featherfall DM?
It has now been
How many
3
rounds?
rounds, right? Counting the 2 rounds before the boat starts going upwards.
Am I screaming?
40 seconds, 30 seconds.
Can you hear me?
well, that's enough time, I think, for Bruiser. I trust Bruiser. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. You're right
Oh
here.
my
You're on my
gosh.
back. Still, right?
I'm falling.
Alan looks. Yeah, we're.
Or we're all
I thought for a
Falling.
moment there, before I processed the saxophone music, I thought you were keeping me from falling, and that your wing strength was extremely high.
Well, I'm fabulous, but you're rather large.
Oh yes, I know. That's why I was confused and realized the correlation with the
this happen
saxophone
a
music
lot?
and everyone. Oh yes, sadly.
If I had a winkle digit for every time we fell a mile,
As the thrusters of the tugboat get louder and
Clara
louder,
is like quietly crying.
the tugboat thrusting vertically as fast as it possibly can. We didn't work out what this is, so I'm going to say it takes exactly to the end of Featherfall at its full speed. So right as Fox is like, oh no, I'm going to lose it, boop, you like fall 5 feet and your feet are on the deck of the tugboat. And it doesn't hurt anybody and everyone is fine, except we need to talk about the T-Rex. Does Jeb release the T-Rex concentration to fall as Jeb, or is there a T-Rex trying to land on the tugboat, which is going to involve some rolling?
He releases it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But as he drops to the deck, Jeb is bleeding profusely, and this is probably the most you have seen Jeb wounded. He is really messed up right now, like really, really messed up.
Even after an entire tower almost fell on him?
I mean,
well, that was the
technically
whole way
he was
dead.
Well, yeah.
But yeah,
You weren't there.
I've only
so
got-
this is the worst you've ever seen.
I mean, that's true.
I've got 10 hit points left, and he just like sits on his butt, and he's just like, "Can we just like be done? Can we like,
Jeb,
can we do the cataclysmic ritual just like here? Can we just like try it like without K? Can we just like do that real quick?
A hand,
Like, be done."
almost die?
a hand at the end of a tailored suit arm reaches down and clasps Jeb on the shoulder, and he says, "Not far yet. Look up there." And he points upwards, and you can see that because of your proximity to it before this fight, you are less than a day's travel from one of the pillars of eternal vigil. At this stage, 30 miles in width is enough that it just goes as far as you can see. There's just a huge wall of black to one direction from you, this kind of obsidian or dark stone, this pillar reaching up. It's 30 miles tall. It climbs 5 Mount Everests vertically from where you are. That's how high it is. So you're 6 miles in the air. There's another 5 Mount Everest, 30 more mile, or whatever that is. 30 minus 6. 24. 24 more miles vertically there. So that's what you're looking at as Bruiser deftly begins piloting the tugboat towards it. But more importantly, as you approach the pillar, here at the 6 mile altitude mark, you can see that you get closer and closer. We turn off the elevator music from Fox Falling. As you're getting closer and closer to the pillar of eternal vigil, you begin to see things. It's the lookouts who call it out first, along with Fox and maybe FP, who are the first to realize that twisting around the tower like the threads of a screw are some kind of incline mass with a stone railing carved or perhaps added afterwards to the edge of the pathway, reaching up to about just over shin height. This walkway spiraling up as far as you can see, rough hewn into the tower. So it's not like smooth and perfect. It's like this was manual labor. And it starts at this 6 mile vertical point, because the other thing you can see dug into the side of the tower is a large empty space, or what would have been an empty space, approximately airship sized, except in it, flashing lights still dimly pulsating as you approach, is an airship with a huge mast and sails coming off the sides, and with the thin wisp of apple cat smoke permanently in the air around it. There is the airship that you think of as K's airship. You've heard of it in the lore. You are confident that this is the airship of K. You don't see any signs of life aboard it. And in fact, it may be that the lights are only working because you have come within 100 feet of it. As Bruiser approaches the edge of the tower, there is a quick gathering of Four Guys Ventures and Vibes company members on the main deck of the tugboat. Everybody wants to see Kelnor's airship, or Kay's airship, but also everybody wants to talk about the next steps. Everybody is talking at once, and so there's a lot to cut through. The first thing that you hear is Larodith chewing out Bruiser. How dare you put the ship into free fall? I am constructing a delicate instrument down there, and as soon as you put the ship into free fall, you dangerously endangered the structural nature of the dangerous machine that I am attempting to create in my own dangerous circumstances. Right next to her, Randy is going, four valves held together by Flex Seal. Alan, how can you allow? And then right next to him, Garlel is over there slapping Bruiser on the shoulder going, that was the dopest thing I have ever seen. Oh my gosh. I did lose some dice over the side of the boat, but like, come on, that was worth it. Beneath that, Rex and Sasha are like, did you see us shoot at that thing? We totally helped. Right next to Rex and Sasha, the Mountain is holding a huge catering platter. The Mountain is, 6 feet tall, 7 feet wide, holding this gigantic catering platter of muffins. And so every now and then, people reach over and grab a chocolate chip muffin and just stuff it in their face. Wash, what is Radford saying as he joins the commotion on the airship?
You did it, guys. I knew I had a good feeling about you.
Right next to Radford telling you he has a good feeling about you is Zopf, who is... what is Zopf doing? Probably taking records of some kind?
Yeah, he's asked Riley, can you draw the situation?
Riley already hard at work drawing the airship.
Already on it.
We cut back to the Myconid, who finally gets silenced by using his spores of calm emotions on everybody. Or affirmative the Myconid now, Myconid sovereign, standing up there, his necktie tied around his otherwise kind of coarse bark-like body. He gets silence out of everybody and he says, we have reached an important moment because we cannot all leave at this stage. There is at least 2 other operations that need to be undertaken while we try to retrieve Kay. We need to find rubies as ordered by one of our founders. And that is a mission for Rex, Sasha, and Ronald. Ronald, who his head is totally buried under everybody else, but he's there with his paperwork and his giddy face. And we also need to retrieve the Book of Exalted Deeds from Udril, a task which I have assigned to some of our other operatives. At the same time, it is paramount that we find and retrieve Kay and that we complete Larodith's machine. And so I propose that we send lookouts aboard this airship to see what can be found. We prepare equipment-wise the rest of our teams, and then we work out our next stages once we know whether Kay is on the airship or not. Founders, do you disagree?
I agree with that.
Trevor, on behalf of the boat's crew, please roll an investigation check.
Okay. Six on the die plus the boat's int is 9 total.
It takes them a long time to to thoroughly comb the airship that they find. They find, for one thing, they find proof that this was Kay's airship. They find an altar or a shrine, I should say, of Kelnor in there. They find a solid storeroom that is full of, to Clara's delight, like spices and seasonings and all kinds of things that you would use when you're cooking, like for a party, like when you're hosting people for like a big dinner party, or, ornate teacups and all sorts of nice things. They find where a huge store of apple cats should be, but it has been cleared out. And they find that there are 30 or 40 dead changelings aboard, but no sign of Kay himself. And the trail leads towards the winding path that is climbing the Pillars of Eternal Vigil. The ship has run out of food. They had spices, but they have run out of food at some point. It's hard to tell when because it's all gone. And the bodies aboard the ship appear to have been dead for a while, so they probably starved. And died here in this spot. There is no other sign aboard the ship itself. As you're waiting for them, well, actually, let's just say they come back and do that report. So what would you all like to do as your next step? Obviously, we've got to go up the tower. Or who's going to go up the tower and what else is going to happen? This is really a decision for you as the players.
I mean, do we just take the ship up? I mean, but we're gonna have to deploy some other teams.
This is the maximum altitude of the ship, 6 miles altitude, which is also like the cruising altitude of airplanes. But this is the maximum altitude of your airship. So the rest of it would have to be done on foot or arcanely, like you'd have to fly spell or something like that.
I can't take the ship any higher, but I think you guys should go. I feel like I need to stay with the ship in case something crazy happens again and we need to free fall or I don't know what.
Randy's also like, this ship also needs repairs and you are responsible for that need. There is no way I'm going to get out on the wing unless you are out there on the wing. He's just like being salty about it.
Yeah. That is fair, I guess. I do feel as though Bruiser would be a valuable addition to the team scouting up the pillar, but I understand, and it's obviously ultimately up to you. I would like to be a part of the group heading up the pillar, and obviously we have the charms of air bubble that I think will become very useful up that way.
I definitely I need to be there. I don't know.
By my calculations, Laredith kind of walks up to you, adjusting her spectacles. By my calculations, it could take up to a whole year to climb the remaining height of this tower manually. However, the abilities that you bring as adventurers may shorten that time to as little as 36 weeks. Also, if you find a way magically to speed things up, you may also shave time off of your journey in that way.
36 weeks is still a lot of time.
It is, but I see no other alternative.
How do we know it goes all the way to the top?
That is true. We don't know whether Kay will necessarily be at the top.
Garlel is the one who enters the conversation. It goes the whole way. At one point, my Cartographers Guild attempted to map this tower, and they were met by emissaries from the Wizard's Order at the top of it, who requested and negotiated with me that it not be mapped in order to preserve their research and their place of safety.
I mean, but this stairwell had to have been cut after the darkening, right?
I don't believe so. I believe it was here when we attempted to chart this place.
What do we know about this place? Clara says in a rather subdued voice.
Bruiser says it's tall.
We know that at the top of this tower, there is a guild of wizards who call themselves the Order of the Exalted Ring, a very secretive group whose name has appeared in whispers throughout history, but whose purpose has never been particularly uncovered. I myself do not know it. I respected their request for their secrecy. They explained that they were mages who were attempting to push the limits of magic, and that until their research was in a publishable format, they hoped not to be disturbed. And they assured me that they would not dabble in the affairs of the mortal plane or the material plane in any ways that would cause harm to others. And so, taking them at their word on that, I let them be. I assume they are all dead now. I don't know how they would have air without magic that high up. But Kay, who was not captured in the darkening, would have his full store of divine magic available. And if he was unable to save his changelings, he should have had plenty to save himself.
Well, I'm new in town around here, but back in the day, I used to have a spell back when magic was around, but y'all seem to have, cooked up your own sort of magic hoodads around here. But I used to be able to do something where I could sort of think about a place or an object or a person and just kind of maybe figure out what legends were known about it. I like to dabble in rumors, as it were. She's referring to the spell of legend lore. The spell brings to your mind a brief summary of the significant lore about the thing you named. It might consist of current tales, forgotten stories, or even secret lore that has never been widely known. It has to be something of legendary importance, and the more information you already have about it, the more precise and detailed the information you receive is. It is a 5th level divination spell. I don't know actually if that would be relevant or not for this situation.
Carlisle shrugs. It's worth a try. If their magic was as good as they said it was, which he looks over at Jeb, no offense, not all wizards' magic is as good as they say it is. But if it's as good as they say it was, I think they would qualify as being of legendary importance.
Sure doesn't
I'd
hurt.
say it's worth a shot.
Go for it.
Alrighty. I will cast the spell. It is instantaneous and takes her about 10 minutes. So she'll set up outside of the conversation and work on setting this up. She's got all her little spices and stuff that she's just pulled and stuck in her apron from Kay's storage, and she's using them to sort of create this little divination circle that smells fabulous.
While she's doing that, why don't you can do it as the players or in character as the characters, but decide if there's anyone else besides the 3 founders who are going up on the exploration. Bruiser has already said he's going to maybe stay with the ship. So it's just the 3 of you deciding if you're going to bring anybody else.
I'm a bit torn because
I would
don't
like each
know.
of you, just to be clear, I'd like you to only bring one character that you are playing up the tower.
Ooh. I'm thinking Jeb might. I don't know. I'm thinking Jeb might stay behind. I think Radford would want and need to go, but I don't know of a way for everybody to get up there without Jeb's magic.
If Jeb's necessary, he's necessary, you know?
Yeah.
I can.
And again, just
based
so we're
off of
clear,
what we
you
know-
can make the walk. Like I said, we would roll a survival check to determine how well your abilities helped you. And based on that, I have a different way of rolling how many weeks it takes to summit
That's just
the pillar.
so much time.
It is a long time.
That is so much time.
It's
So-
calculated based on how long it takes to hike Everest.
I can
crazy.
use this. We found an item before, right? The saxophone. I haven't attuned to it yet, but if I can attune to that, I believe, based off of what we know about it, I could cast Fly, but that would only be on myself. And I can cast it only once a day, but I mean, that would hopefully cut the time a lot.
Garlel, you said you guys didn't map the whole thing, but do you know, and Jeb kind of like does some like quick math, like this thing is huge, like all the way around. That circumference is impossibly large.
It sure is.
Do we know how much vertical distance there is before it loops all the way back around?
I don't. And if I'm honest with you, I do believe that from what I was told, some level of arcane magic was employed to make it more like you were traveling the linear distance vertically. So you would find that it took you only 24 miles of movement to summit the remaining 24 miles vertically of this tower. That magic may have been dispelled, but you carry your own weave with you. So I'm confident it would still work in your case.
Unless we turned it off.
Unless you turned it off.
So you're saying we would just have to travel 24 miles?
Yes. But you would still suffer it's a vertical. So you're still walking the circumference of the tower. It just would only take you the time and distance of 24 miles, but you would still need to summit that much space. It's essentially a way of shortening the distance you travel. You're still traveling that distance. It's just 24 miles has been stretched across the space between here and the top of the tower, as opposed to circling around a tower however many times to get 24 miles up.
I hate to come all this way just to not be a part of this, and Jeb kind of looks back at the ship and how grumpy Randy is. I mean, yeah, and it's just like, I really think I need to stay behind with the boat and make sure everything is repaired. And I actually have some ideas of some stuff that I could work on that I could honestly use the time. And if it looks like, I think,
I'm going to be honest,
those are
Jeb,
some cool wizards up there. But
I think I agree with you because I'm going to need you to stop almost dying.
well, when you put it that way, I'm definitely going to come, you stupid jerk. And he just kind of punches Fox on the kneecap.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. But you're right. I think I need to stay behind.
Hey, we'll meet up again. And
You better
It may
come back
also
with
be
Kay.
beneficial to have your assistance, Jeb, in recovering the Book of Exalted Deeds from Udril, as you were there when you vanquished Makar Pedrin, and so you would be able to guide the team that we send to the right location.
Yeah, it's all coming together. This, working on the Televibe device, there's
there's a lot, yeah.
Am I Jacob mistaken? I feel like we did a little heist to get the Exalted Deeds book, did we not?
You know what? I think you actually did. I think we had, so the reason I wasn't thinking of it is because you didn't play it. What happened is I think we added it to the journey that Gunner and Bruiser took on their way from the heists to
But we did-
Thraxenhaus domain. You're so right.
They did
I forgot
play
about it.
because they
Gunner-
lifted.
Gunner-
we
They
did
had to
play it.
lift the glass and
Yeah.
like, exit the building and trick all the guards. Like they totally played it.
It was actually our most efficient heist yet. It
Wow,
was
I
it actually
was
went really
impressed.
well.
Heist. You're right. Okay.
wow.
I take that part back. Sorry.
I
Good
didn't
catch.
realize that was
Yep.
the thing that you recovered.
No, great catch. I forgot
When
all
you
about
first,
that.
it's just when you first mentioned it in my head, I was like, no, I thought we got it, and then you kept mentioning it. I was like,
I
and
only
like
came
more and more
across it
memories
today in
from
my
it.
notes because I was like looking through my notes to prepare the session. I was like, oh, I think they forgot that. So thanks for reminding me. I'll
No,
fix that.
we did it. We
Okay.
yeah, we
DM
did
is
it.
like, that's not what I said. You need to go find
No,
find the enchanted
No,
spoon.
everybody's having this conversation, and Garlo walks up and he's like, hey guys, I don't know if you forgot about this, but Gunner and Bruiser got that already. And Gunner's off in the distance holding a book that's just leaking magic.
Gunner just like looks above it. He's like, yeah, and it was like a whole thing where I didn't blow anything up. You guys were supposed to be proud of me.
I am proud of you, Gunner. You did so good.
Thank
You
you.
didn't blow anything up?
Nothing.
He did
nothing
not
at
blow
all.
anything up.
I kept my end of the deal.
Wow.
Okay.
It was our most successful mission as a 4 guys crew, I suppose.
Zooming out from this conversation, it sounds like Fox, Radford, and Owlin are going to climb the tower. Is that accurate?
I think that's it.
Okay. Before they do,
Is Trevor bringing a character?
he said Bruiser's going to stay behind. But that's okay. Trevor and maybe Jeb will have some things to do in the interim. So there's some stuff happening there. But yes. So before you climb, Clara has finished casting Legend Lore. And so as everyone kind of chooses the team, they walk over towards Clara. Yes, you have a hand up, Julia. What's up?
I have a DM question as well. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I am curious if how teleportation circle might work in this situation as well.
It would be limited by the range of the rods.
Even if Kay is casting a small weave and maybe is near another teleportation circle.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
It was a good thought, though.
No worries.
Clara, do you
All right,
want...
y'all. All right, we're done with this, the setup. Do smell it because it's a waste of spices, really.
I'm going to read the lore that Clara got instead of giving it to you in Clara's voice, just because it's going to be really difficult in the same room for me to send this over to you without messing up my overlays. Sorry. Clara's able to tell you a few things about the Order of the Exalted Ring. The Order of the Exalted Ring first found the central point of all planes, a place they call the City of Doors. Modeled after this, the Order put their substantial powers to the test in creating a clone or a copy of that city. So they ascended to the highest point of the material plane they could find, and like the original, they attempted to create something cast in the shape of a Taurus. the city of doors, otherwise known as Sigil, is a city that lives on the inside of a Taurus. So it's like an infinite loop, basically. So they attempted to replicate that Taurus, but unlike the original, they built spell jamming capacities and defenses into their Taurus. So they were basically trying to make one that could move through wild space, that could traverse the astral sea, that could go to the elemental chaos, but still have all of that access to the other planes. The Tauruses that they built were partially city like Sigil, but again, in attempting to push the boundaries of magic, they extended beyond just the city into different biomes, creating microcosms of fully inhabitable worlds. The worlds were populated with golems meant to be caretakers and also kind of clean up people because they're practicing their magics in places. And so sometimes there's collateral damage. So they've basically built themselves a little playground to do weird magic. And then they have these golems who are basically there to like clean it up for them and things like that. And so it's almost like creating a demi-plane without the limitations of having to go into a dimensional pocket. And so this Order of the Exalted Ring was able to experiment in pushing the boundaries of all schools of magic. The citadel that they built for themselves at the top of this pillar was like home base for them. It has basically like a control center that has access to however many of these Tauruses they built, because they're an order of archmages. They're all very powerful. The founding mage was known as Tasha, of the Order of the Exalted Ring. And she has a legendary level of importance, but it is rumored that in the library of the Order of the Exalted Ring is the book of her life's work, something known as the Demonomicon. And that is what the Order of the Exalted Ring is. And I've been waiting to get to these guys the whole campaign.
No idea how much I want to hug you for just casting that single 5th level spell right now.
Hug away, I'm a hugger.
City of what?
Jeb is just like, I want to go now. I don't want to stay behind. Oh man,
Jeb is a founder. He can pull rank.
Oh no. Oh.
Imagine a library populated with only epic level wizards work.
Frankly,
I'm
honey,
gonna be honest, Jeff.
my concern is that if you are not there, they're climbing like really high, and you're the one who like helps people fly, aren't you?
Oh no!
I guess Fox is good at helping people not falling.
I mean, to be fair, Jeb, I will. If you do not go, I will relay everything that I see to you, because I am sure it will be incredibly enlightening.
You're not helping me.
I mean,
Jeb. I'm gonna be honest. I think for the same reason I need to go.
I think I'm sweating.
Jeb's like brushed himself off with his hat.
I can't tell.
I don't want to.
Blood.
Well, tell us how
This
you
is
really
a once
feel.
in a lifetime. You. I can't stop you from going, and I almost want to encourage you just for the simple fact I know what this would mean to you.
It also turns out, the Myconid chimes in, we don't need your help to locate the Book of Exalted Deeds because we have it. So if you wanted to go,
it's right here. It's
it was just in the bathroom. I was having a good old, toilet read. It happens.
We put Joffrey in charge of inventory, and the records were incomplete. Ronald is over in the corner writing a PAM for Joffrey. He's got like the little personnel action memorandum. It's writing up for Joffrey.
I mean, in my opinion, Jeb, it would be between you and Radford to kind of talk it out. I know that it would be important for both of you for different reasons to see this. It is completely unknown whether it would matter more if either of you went. Like, there is no way that we can accurately predict whether having someone of Radford's skill set versus someone of Jeb's skill set would make a crucial difference in what we are doing. So,
I mean, the idea is you're going to bring Kay back here, right? Said Garland.
That is correct.
So if Radford just wants to meet the guy, like, you can meet him here as well as you can meet him up there.
Walks up to Jeb and says, "It's okay, boss. I can be patient. That's what we monks do. We're chill. We just wait. Good things come when you just wait. You go on up there. You got this. Your buddies need you. He's starting to grow on me. I mean, like, I know it's been like a while, but he really does have his moments. So, okay.
What do you say, Jeb? Let's
As you're having this emotional, thought-provoking moment, the mountain interposes himself between the two of you, holding up this huge platter of muffins.
Alan's gonna grab a muffin and hold it as if it's a drink, and like as if he's about to toast it, essentially.
Jeb will
and
follow suit.
he's gonna hold it out towards Jeb and Fox, and he's gonna like he's gonna pause.
Fox
He's
looks
gonna say-
awkwardly at the bite he just took and then turns it so you can't see it.
We're going to retrieve K for Zoth, and Alan's gonna push out the muffin and then take a bite.
For Zoth.
For Zoth.
And as you eat your muffins, it is time to journey. Jeb, am I correct in assuming that you're going to try and use your magic to help with the climb?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do.
Alan has an idea to help with the climb in a small way as well.
We're going to start with, actually, we're going to skip the survival roll. We're going to say that because you're both using magic, it's obviously going to be on the shorter end of the roll, which was 3d12, was going to determine how many weeks it takes. I'm going to let you roll your 3d12 with advantage and take the lower number of weeks because we're using magic to augment the travel. Does that feel fair to you?
Roll a d12 then?
So
we
each of
each
you
roll a
will roll one
D12.
d12,
But we roll two
or
d12.
roll 2 and take the lower number.
Yeah.
Now, all right, because the only other thing I could think of is I can cast Fly once a day, but I don't think. I mean,
So I can use some pretty powerful magic to move us, but I just I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know how much of a benefit it is. It's a little wibbly wobbly. I'm
Alan's-
cool with rolling a d12 if we want to kind of like condense it
Yeah,
down to
let's
that,
have
but-
each of you roll a d12, I think, and we'll take the lower
Alan's
number for each.
small way of helping is he wants to use Kelnor's marvelous pigments to make like nice walking sticks and hiking boots for everybody. And
That's
like,
a great idea.
you know what?
Yeah.
It's the pebble in your shoe that kills you. You know, and having just that, you know, that's a metaphor, but
Yeah.
having like just the walking stick and you know that adds that little bit. Every little bit matters.
We need to add that quote. It's the pebble in your shoe that kills you, Cleo.
Hey, it's me, Pebbles.
I don't think that's a. I think I'm paraphrasing or quoting something else.
Each of you roll 2d12 and take the lower number, and then we're going to add them together to decide how long this walk takes you.
What a
I'm
fun
sorry,
roll.
guys.
2d12.
I apologize.
Julia has a hand up. What's up?
Would you?
Sorry, I
I
was
did
reading. Have they
okay.
already left?
No.
Okay. So back in the day, y'all, I used to, do a lot of deliveries, and I ended up, I tried this spell out that I think might come in handy. It helps you find the shortest, most direct physical route to somewhere that you're going. So it's like, what's going to be the very quickest, most direct way to go. And so it kind of helped me in the cities navigating, something like that. I don't know how much
What if
time that
there's a
would save me
secret-
though.
What if there's a secret path?
That is
And
possible.
like some really-
that could find that.
Cool, complicated name like path transmutation, or like the so some cool fancy Latin name.
You like writing these things down in your little books, don't you? Yeah.
do.
It was
I
just
do,
called
yeah.
Find the Path. It was not very
wow.
fancy.
It's direct and
I
to
mean,
the
that'll
point.
work. Yeah, you don't forget it. Like levitate,
Yeah, sometimes simpler is better, but
Yes.
it only works for like a minute though. So I guess if you got lost, it wouldn't really help any longer. So, but we could try. We could try to run it before you go.
Okay.
I'm willing. I'm
I'm
if it could
assuming you were going
reveal-
to take a day in long rest before you leave on your journey
Yes.
anyway to get your HP back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's fine. You can have cast it and look at it. It's going to tell you that the shortest path is to go around the winding road that leads up to the top of the pillars.
Always
I was
worth
really
a try.
hoping there's there's a secret door and
What are your
to the
your
center.
lower rolls?
So if we're doing the no, never mind. Our
3.
low rolls,
Yep.
I rolled a 10 for my
Oh,
low roll.
jeez.
Dang.
I rolled a 10 and a 12.
Okay.
Dang.
Fox, what did you roll?
Well, I was gonna apologize, but now I
you're
I
welcome.
don't feel like. Yeah, I rolled, my lowest was a 7. I rolled a 7 and a 9.
A total of 20 weeks of travel, which will take us from summer to winter. Not that it matters at this altitude, but a total of 20 weeks of travel.
I had a 3 and a
months.
4, so mine were marginally the same anyway.
5
So
months.
one
of
thing to
travel.
note is that Jeb has inscribed into his spell book one of the scrolls that we got recently for air bubble. So once
And we have
get
a bunch
up
of
into
charms
those-
of air bubble as well. Yeah.
but he can just go ahead and cast it. It's a low level spell, and he
Awesome.
can, that lasts 24 hours. So he's just going to burn 3 second level spell slots every day to just cast air bubble on everybody.
Okay.
Very cool. Now, again, we're abstracting the travel time here, but I'm going to hit you with as you leave, and then we're going to talk about the mechanics. As you step off of the Cugboat and onto land, the Cugboat receding in the distance as Bruiser takes the rest of the crew off on their remaining journeys. You turn back to the path, and as you step out of the hangar area and onto the corkscrew path, a bunch of invisible torches spring to life as the reach of your rods of magic come in range of them. And so 100 feet away from you is illuminated by torchlight every 10 feet. And the torches are all dancing lights alternating in colors. And so you have this multicolored path as you walk upwards. You find that the path, while not particularly pretty, is fairly easy, at least at this lower altitude, before you reach the levels where the environment has scoured it. And so in decently good spirits, you all begin your journey. Now, I had determined that for every quarter of a year, every 3 months that you were traveling, each of you are going to roll a complication for your personal character that applies over the length of the climb. This is traveling in hazardous conditions or whatever. The 5 months only covers 1 quarter of the year in full. So you only need to do it once, but each of you is going to roll a d6 to determine the toll that this journey takes on you.
And we do not want to roll a 1?
It doesn't matter. They're all complications. It's just a chart of complications
it's a
and you're
table.
rolling for which
Jeez.
one you get.
Jeez.
I got a 3.
Okay.
I got a 1.
Alan got a 4.
The journey is long. It gets more and more arduous as you continue climbing the path where, as magic has worn off and prevented it from being shielded, it is not only the weather, but sometimes things that leak out of wild space and impact the tower. And so you come across craters, you come across moments where the path is broken and you need to jump. You encounter freak weather patterns. Whichever of you rolled a 3, I believe that was Fox. Through all of that weather, you develop 1 level of exhaustion that will carry with you to the top of the journey. One of you rolled a 1, I believe. You take 13 points of damage over the hike as you kind of cut yourself on loose rocks, or you bump into things, or maybe something impacts you. And what was the last roll? Was it Jake rolled a 4?
Yes.
Jake, roll a d20 for me.
9.
9. Owlin, you have developed a minor scar, a scar that doesn't have any adverse effect, but cannot be removed from you unless you use magical healing of 6th level or higher. What is the minor scar that has been added to Owlin?
Alan already has a separate minor scar, and I'm trying to remember what that exact one was. I should have written it down. I just
think it
wrote
was on
down
his
that
face somewhere.
Yeah, and it gave me advantage on intimidation, but disadvantage on persuasion. We'll say that one is across the cheek, kind of from below the eye down to kind of the jaw. This new scar is on his forearm from a time where he was, maybe there was a gap in the rocks and there was kind of a need for a jump, and he just missed the jump, and like on this part of his forearm he like scraped against some sort of jutting out rock or something and had a really bad cut.
Sure.
That just healed over wrong. Yeah.
Okay, now we're about to go through a time skip here, so you're going to need to kind of mentally. Yes.
Hey, if I could have like just a moment to talk with
Oh yeah,
our
sure.
fellow characters.
Yeah.
I guess this would thematically be like at a small campfire along the stairs, maybe a little alcove.
I'm going to give like 6 minutes of real world time for this, and then I'll cut back in here just to keep our story moving.
So Jeb is doing his normal thing that we've been doing for the past couple weeks, and that is scratching out a little circle on the ground to cast his tiny hut. And he like, while you guys are like making the fire, and it, thoomph, there's like this domed bubble that like pops up around us, and yeah. So we.
Guys, do you ever? Sorry, it's
Just say
just
it.
having a really hard time, I guess. Does this feel real to you? Not like obviously it's real. I just mean
It's
don't
difficult
know.
to imagine that we have made it this far, and yet what it has come to is just weeks and months of.
It's just the same thing, man.
The same
it's
thing,
just like,
yes.
I'm just like, I feel like I've got calves on the front of my shins and not on the back.
Yeah. It's discouraging in the sense that it's not maybe necessarily actually discouraging, but the thought has crossed my mind that we could reach the top of this and not find K, which would.
I mean,
No,
but still
He's got to be up there.
think about how just I was just thinking about it as right before we started setting up camp. I'm sore and I'm just sick of this hike. So much more to go. And it just feels so tiring and mundane. And I just realized we're on a tower reaching impossible heights on this etched stairwell that's been here for who knows how long, powered by arcane magics that only now we're awakening through the weave that we carry with us, to a legendary order. We don't even know if they exist or not. Do you realize the scope of what we're just glossing through right now?
Man, you are a bard, aren't you? You really like to throw all those words and then like flower it up and stuff.
But for real though, guys, come on. We are
It's
in
quite.
the middle of a legend.
Yes, I think.
It
else
just
to cut
keeps
this part
getting
out?
more. You would think fighting a dragon on top of the ice mountain or
I almost want to make sure that when they write this part, they don't just say like 40 weeks later, that they like actually like write enough stuff so that people have to like go through the pain of all of these steps. Like the journey of 1,000 steps starts with 40,000 steps or something. Like, I don't know.
It's quite incredible, but what I guess what I keep going back to as well is worrying about what the world that we step back into will be when we return with K or without K, because I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but we need to go back down.
Well, it's easier to fall.
This is true.
We've already done it before.
That's your company
it's gonna
motto.
be-
It's easier
It's
to
gonna.
fall.
It's that's what we
Rabbit,
say.
don't knock
What
it
do
till
we
you
do
try
when we
it.
fall? We fall some more.
I think I remember it from an old Bard's Tale, but something about flying with style or falling with style. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
But-
terminal velocity If we just have something to slow our fall at the end.
Which, I mean, we do.
Yeah.
So
Do you know why they call it terminal velocity? Anyways,
Yes, we do. We all know that. Yeah. Yeah. But
luckily we haven't hit the terminal part of terminal velocity yet, although we've come extremely close.
I've run the numbers though, Fox. I mean, like the other day when I was writing on Tay, it's like I had some time to do some stuff, and it's not illusion. Like, and he kind of points out, and you can kind of see the separation of wild space and like the atmosphere, and it's like, it's obviously day down there, but it's kind of black and starry above. Like, it's not an illusion. That's just how it looks up here. And
I did.
we're still going up. I mean, I can judge the altitude ish, but man, the scale is just dizzying.
I'm honestly just stuck in a perpetual state of disbelief of what we're doing, and that we're just doing it. It's just a hike.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Maybe it's getting.
You know what? I have a confession. The other day, when I told you guys to go ahead, I peed onto the pillar instead of off, like we had been doing, just to mix things up.
Well, on our
just
way back
mark-
down, that'll mark exactly. We will know exactly how far we are on the way down.
We just peed on the tower, I guess.
Wait, it was him. Did you?
Yeah, it was me.
Well, no,
Have you been this whole time? We made a deal at the beginning that we were going to be economical about this and pee off the side.
Okay, well, I had to at least once, all right?
I mean, I'm not blaming you. I'm just sad that I
Still.
wasn't the first.
I was a little ashamed, okay?
I would like to admit something as well. I'm just kidding.
on,
I haven't
guys.
done it. I just think it's funny to imagine someone accidentally like flying or walking underneath, and then they accidentally get a little sprinkle, but they don't know what it is. I think that part's funny to imagine. So anyways.
Well,
Well, you know what? I'm going to go to sleep and dream about the impossible possibilities at the top of this tower that would have existed, do exist, have existed. And instead, all I'm going to think about is pissing off of it. So,
well, ain't that the way it goes?
7
It
weeks and a number of pee stops later. The three of you have reached the final loop around the tower, and you can now see sticking off the outside edge of it are like parapets of a castle. There are little rounded kind of rooms that are kind of sticking off the outside, and above that, impossibly distant in the air and yet barely visible, probably several miles above you, but up here there's no clouds to obscure it. There is a massive Taurus like up there in wild space, just this huge like floating disc that's way up there, impossibly far, impossible to reach without the aid of some kind of long distance magic or perhaps a teleportation door. But you can see what is either one of the Order of the Exalted Rings sort of clones, or the City of Sigil is above you, kind of suspended in the air there. As you finish the final loop of the tower, you stand in front of a massive pyramid structure, this sort of citadel that springs up like claws leaping together, with those outer parapets reaching up like fingers stretching for the stars. As you explore it, you come across a number of rooms within the citadel that were clearly used by the Order of the Exalted Ring. You come across a control room with a number of scrying orbs in it that, although they activate as you walk in reach of them, are just filled with mist because they can't reach whatever they're supposed to be looking at. However, glyphs underneath of them in Sylvan and Celestial imply that they are meant to communicate with the other parts of this citadel, as well as the various Tauruses, which are labeled with names such as Tasha, which you find on one of them. You also find the library, which features a number of like massive arcane locks. But as you walk towards them with your rods of power extending out ahead of you, these massive mechanical as the door kind of slides back and out of the way, these massive, they're like stone thick doors that just retract into the walls. And so you're able to enter into this many tiered circular building with this large open gallery at its core. And as you walk through it, you begin to see different lights etched into the walls as glyphs kind of start glowing again as they come into range of your runes. So it's either a deep blue or like a deep fuchsia color, which gives it almost like a lo-fi vibe as you're walking through the space. As you spiral up to the top of this library, you find yourself in a chamber that's marked with these massive runes at the top of it called the index chamber. And in the index chamber, there's this huge suspended platform with kind of like a glowing beam of light that activates when you walk in, and you can see it resuspends an object that had fallen to the ground. It is labeled with a plaque, the Plane Caller's Index, and it is an index or a codex created from the Plane Caller's Codex. It's an obelisk bound in stone and adorned with a diagram of the Great Wheel of the Multiverse. And it contains a number of impressive magical properties if someone were to attune to it. The library also has a repository of materials, at least a few of every material in the known world. Owlin the Artificer is in heaven. There's even a Sacrium section, despite this having been established well before Sacrium had any magical charge in it. We learned way long ago that Sacrium was discovered before the Darkening. It was just dormant. The Sacrium section is the only empty section in the library at this point. You also discover that... Excuse me.
Like it had records, but it has been cleaned out by something?
Not records. It had Sacrium in it, and the Sacrium has been taken.
I gotcha.
You also find several other books in there. You come across the Librum of Souls and Flesh, a morbid tome with skin covers and bone fittings that, as you pick it up, begins whispering faintly in the back of your mind. It's chill to the touch, and it has just a lot of necromancy kind of energy coming off of it if you were to cast Detect Magic. You also find the Demonomicon, Tasha's life's work. It is considered one of the most blasphemous tomes of demonology in the multiverse, and it includes all of the research that Tasha did when she took her Taurus, or her kind of like her replica of Sigil, into the 9 layers of hell and explored those planes and what she could find there, and took down all of the magic, did her experiments in that area, kind of copying what she found, all sorts of crazy things in there. And it is bound with leather stripping warning of the dangers of Tasha's obsession with the abyss and with dark creatures. And it includes, on the warning, there are tales of a strange infestation that overtook her small ring world when she was trying to cast her magic or something like that. Nobody knows where her Taurus is now or what became of Tasha on it. You also find the first and only copy ever made of Larodith's work in Scylla, Larodith's Alchemical Compendium, a book which Owlin studied very briefly before he left when drafted. It's a heavy stained volume wrapped with metal fittings, and it has a lot of transmutation magic in it. Fox, as they're exploring that, you feel a voice in the back of your mind. Hey, you. Hey, over here. You look over in the corner, and there's a broom there, leaning in the corner. Hey, it's me. Hey, you should take me with you. I've swept up the dust of so many adventurers' feet. I want to go on an adventure. Can I come? Will you take
I
me
just
with
want to put in an editor's note here. Just that look. That's the editor's note.
you? Okay, great.
Shadow
I'm
Duster.
gonna-
Take me with you. I want to come.
I'm gonna. You know what? I didn't learn from my first time of listening to the voices in my head.
Why start now?
Why start now? I'm gonna go over to the broom, and I'm hesitantly gonna go. I'm not gonna touch it. I thought about it. I reach out a hand and stop.
Yeah. Just take me.
Why should I bring you with me?
Because I'm bored, man. I've been here for so long, and the
I mean,
other guy
actually,
who came
that's-
up here doesn't even clean. So I'm just stuck here in the
Well-
corner.
How about you tell me where that other guy is, and if we find that other guy, then I take you.
Done. Let's shake on it.
You don't have hands.
That's so smart. You gotta.
Just pick me up.
Well, I'll pick you up if you tell me exactly where he is.
That's exactly the arrangement.
No, you gotta tell me first.
No, I have the wares. You are the buyer.
I believe I have the wares, considering I have time to search for this person. You've been stuck in time in who knows how long here.
All right, fine.
Hey,
Don't find it on your own. Whatever. See if I
you-
care.
Is this another
Yeah, you okay with
Shadowblade
it, Pup?
situation? What's going on?
You're,
All right,
you're
I'm
talking to
gonna-
a broom.
Bear with me a second, Jeb. All right, I'm gonna roll insight
Sure.
on this broom.
That's a sentence.
Can Alan take Laredith's book and put it in his pack?
Sure.
Is it, or is it too big? Great. Cool.
I rolled a 9 to see if it means me any harm.
This broom is completely legit.
All right, fine. You drive a hard bargain. If I take you with me, you will show me exactly where the guy is.
100% easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy?
Yeah.
All right. And I pick up the broom.
No attunement or anything of any cursed nature happens to you. The broom goes, awesome, man. I can't wait for this. Okay, so we're going to go to the east tower on the side of this citadel. He's in one of the rooms.
Okay, Jeb, follow me.
Fox picks up a broom and walks out.
Do you want me to follow as well, or just Jeb?
You too, Alan. Yeah, sorry. You were busy over there. I don't think I'm going to be long.
Well, I found a beloved book of my childhood, so I wanted to read it.
That's why,
Yeah,
I
I
was
want to
letting
look
you
at
have
some
a
of these other
moment.
books here too.
Well, then, you know what? I will. Let me just make sure I'm not losing my mind, and then I'll come back if I haven't lost my mind. How about that? right.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Fox.
The broom didn't tell you to do that, did it?
I am going to follow you, actually. And Alan puts the book in his back and starts walking with Fox.
Jeb is going to take the other books.
Okay. Add to your inventory Plain Caller's Index, Demonomicon, and Librum of Souls and Flesh. I'll tell you what they do later. You walk out following Fox. And so leaving this central citadel and entering the parapets to the side, these were
this
clearly
way.
the
Okay.
rooms of the wizards. Each has like a name on
This
its
left?
nameplate. And so you walk through and you kind of look at, and they're, decorated. They have, a lot of them have the wizard stuff, and many of them have the wizard's bodies. When the air bubble that was cast over this area died, many of them suffocated before they could react in time. And so you, with your air bubbles, courtesy of Jeb, are not in the same danger, but many of these wizards have passed away where they are.
Is there like no atmosphere up here?
No, there's very little atmosphere up here. There is some,
everything's,
like
like,
there's
really
gravity
well
and stuff,
preserved.
but
Okay.
So they do, however, their bodies have been arranged. Like someone has come post-mortem and like arranged them into they're laying down on their bed, hands clasped, eyes have been closed. It seems like someone has come through and given them some dignity in death. And it becomes apparent as you head towards the East Tower that your broom was not lying to you, because the first thing you smell in the air is the smell of apple cats. And the vague sort of mist, which in this low atmosphere
Good
is
job, Brim.
dispersing quickly, but you can see it coming from one of the towers, and there's a flickering light there. And so you enter this final tower, this final room. The nameplate of a wizard you don't know on the door. Fox has a hand up.
Yeah. Can I give my entrance once I
Yeah.
get to this? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go to the door. Something just compels me to do this. I don't know. It's meeting a god that you didn't really believe in for a good part of your life, or
Yeah.
an avatar of this god, and now having spent your like good part of your adventuring career looking for him, and you know what? A broom told me where to find him, so I'm gonna pick up the broom, knock on the door. And, room service.
You hear, yeah, man, come on in. And you turn the doorknob, swing it open. It's an old door. You step into this former wizard's room, and there, changeling avatar of Kelnor, Kay sits cross-legged and bare-chested upon a small rug at the center of the living space. Next to him, apple cats burn quietly on several incense plates. He looks up at you as you enter with a smile and a twinkle in his eye, and he gestures at 3 mugs sitting before him, and he says, I heard you'd come, man, and I knew it'd be soon. All these past months, I've been preparing tea for you every day. And you've got the tall guy, right? And the dude with the hat with you?
Yeah?
Alan
Come on
jigs his
in.
head in.
Will you join, will you
I
join
believe
us
I am
for
the tall
tea?
guy.
Will you join us for tea?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Awesome. And you sit down and you see he's got 2 more mugs that are sitting next to him. And he hands one over to a chair that you couldn't see from the doorway. Zothkug, describe your expression as you lock eyes with your 3 former companions for the first time in nearly a year and a half.
So, Zothkug, just like stops what he's doing, just slowly reaches for his tea with a big smile on his face, and just takes a nice sip. Says, "Enjoy the vibes, man."
And on that note, tonight's
Holy
Dungeons and Dragons session
shit.
comes to a close.
Holy!
That's it for us for tonight. But boy, howdy, was it an ending. If you want to hang out with us for a little, it seems maybe we should just hang out live for another 5 or 10 minutes, let you all decompress. We usually do this in our Discord, but lately we've had some big endings to our streams. So maybe I'll just leave us live for another 10 minutes or so here. But chat, we appreciate you, and players, if any of you need to go to bed, you're welcome to do that. But we're going to just hang out for a couple minutes here. That does conclude our session, however. So thanks for being with us, chat. If you need to leave, we wish you all the best. Otherwise, should we just vibe for a little bit? Should we just enjoy the vibe as we were just requested to do?
How long did you know this, Trevor?
Yeah, how long have you guys been planning this?
When did you message me first about this?
I messaged
If you say
you
more than 24 hours, I'm going to be upset.
More than 24
I messaged him the
hours.
first time I
No.
thought you were coming to the Pillars of Eternal Vigil. I think you were still in Thraxenhaus domain, and we thought it might have been
Holy
your next
cow.
stop. So you had not left when you were here for my birthday, and we did like the big escape with the monks. It was, I think, right before that weekend
So
that I messaged him.
The first message you sent about this was on August 24th.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm upset.
I am so glad that Radford didn't go. I am so
Yes, that's
yeah.
a really good
so
point.
glad
I didn't think of
that
that.
Radford did not go. Oh my goodness.
I think I've cried.
I would be
some real
so
tears.
mad right now. Oh,
The Zothkug thing was completely improvised. That was something I thought of the second I said it. I can't believe that happened. That's crazy.
I literally had to turn away so that I didn't give anything away with my face.
I thought you were just so touched and moved by my role playing.
I was, and I used that to hide what else I was feeling. So I did I squirreled away
You
from
guys,
the camera.
he used to tell me stuff, and now I
Oh,
play a little
man.
bit, and he doesn't tell me stuff anymore.
Oh my,
That's
oh,
crazy.
man.
I am.
Mwahaha.
How?
Oh, we know
Wow.
how.
We'll find out.
And I'm sure it'll come up in the next session.
Oh, definitely.
I know y'all know how, and I know I'm not gonna figure it out tonight. But still, I'm. I'm
it's
pretty
been-
sure. Okay,
Wow.
I do want to say I was like, I'm pretty sure this broom is a reference
It is.
to yeah.
It's an Easter egg. If you know, you know. It's fine.
If you know, you know.
Is it sad that I don't know? Is it
That
bad
broom's
that I
been
don't
in
know?
every campaign I've ever run.
Oh, okay.
Although usually it's more forceful. Usually it asks you to buy it, and you have
I
to make
thought
a
it was
scene.
just Shadow Walker reincarnated.
Yeah.
No, that's why it did a different voice. Normally it has a similar voice to Shadow Walker too, but I didn't want to
okay.
throw you off the trail.
Ah,
It normally
yeah,
is
yeah,
like, buy me, buy a broom, be so clean. But I made it more
I
chill this
love
time.
how Cleo's like,
Oh man.
well, I didn't learn from my mistake. I was like, you're gonna stay.
I mean, it's true.
Chat says Jeb not going would have been like Iron Man not being in Avengers Endgame. That's exactly what it would have been like.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true.
I was really shook that Jeb wasn't gonna go, but also this is like Radford's dream, so I could see how that was
that
conflicting.
was hard,
but
man.
I was like,
Yeah.
why are you even talking about it? I don't
I saw
understand. And
as
then I
a
realized
moment
it was
of growth,
Radford.
right? Of like, yeah, we understand that things are more important than wants and desires of our individual, right? Like things need to get done. And
Yeah.
we were becoming more responsible. And then we
There's-
said no.
And then
see,
you
that
saw
was-
a broom.
That was the thing, though, is that we're becoming more responsible, and there's so many things that I want Jeb to do that just needs time, like downtime, him sitting in the background. And I'm like,
Yeah.
he could use this spell that he's been working on. He could do something with the golem, like the manual of golems. He could, like find and locate the broadcast tower for the televibes. I mean, I've got like 4 other things that I'm like, but dang.
It'd be
would've
really
been-
cool. I know we only have a weave of like 100 feet, but like, what if we somehow were able to set up an antenna up here and just televibe from virtually space?
Dang.
Satellite televibe
is something I didn't think about. That would be like, because if it was like radio waves, that would be like infinite range.
Maybe Kay
Yeah.
has something that could help. I don't know.
And better yet, unlike a satellite, it's fixed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just there. Geostationary.
Good luck to the aboleths to try to
Tower.
get to it.
Yeah.
You'd have to put it pretty high up to get past the 30-mile diameter of the ground.
Yeah.
I do have to go because I have to get up at like 4 in the morning for a shoot tomorrow. But that was
Sorry, fam.
my favorite session in a long time. That was like
man.
all around an incredible session, like beginning, middle, and end.
It's just the
So
first time
I-
you've fallen in a long time. That's why you liked it so
That's
much.
what it is. That's
Yeah.
what it
I-
is.
Falling for falling.
I'm not sure if anybody had been noticing that I've been updating.
I have.
the
I have.
text.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
gonna-
favorite little joke was "Wake up, honey! A new fall battle has started."
Yes, it just dropped.
I'm gonna quick end the stream, and since Jake's the one who's got to go, Jake, what do we tell the people?
Once in a while, every few streams or so, we say something along the lines of GG and GN.